I can see. Fly with me. Come on, baby, set me free. You say that you know the truth. Inside of me, inside you. Always got something to prove. Don't know what it means to lose. What would you do? Oh, look at the light in your eyes. Beneath the wheel of the skies. Baby, keep holding on tight. We'll win the fight. Oh. I've been walking that walk. What I hear is all talk, yeah. Never taking days off. Wait till I'm on top, yeah. That show me love. Oh, always play the same song. Don't forget what's right from wrong. You just got to hang on, take a chance, let it go. You can have all that you want. I can see. Fly with me. Come on, baby, set me free. You say that you know the truth. Inside of me, inside you. Always got something to prove. Don't know what it means to lose. What would you do? Oh, look at the light in your eyes. Beneath the wheel of the skies. Baby, keep holding on tight. We'll win the fight. Oh.
Never get enough, we could have it all. Gonna take a chance, we can never fall. Yeah, I feel so strong, unstoppable. Just hold on tight, gotta let it roll. Don't stop this feeling, let's take it too far. Live for these moments, let's reach for the stars. A million to one. Invincible, invincible. So wild and so young. Just you and me. A million to one. Invincible, invincible. So wild and so young. 'Cause we are invincible. Yeah, we are invincible.
looking for a place to hide. It seems we're crossing a line. My love for you is making me blind, but I want you, oh I want you. I think we're out of control. It feels like I'm losing ground. I know we had it all. Now I'm chasing, oh I'm chasing. No, I ain't going too far. I will love you wherever you are, even if we're miles apart. You are the light in my dark. Control. It feels like I'm losing ground. I know we had it all. Now I'm chasing, oh I'm chasing. We both know that our path is ended. It's time to say goodbye. Even if you're far away, we should give it another try. No, I ain't going too far. I will love you wherever you are, even if we're miles apart. You are the light in my dark. You are the light in my dark.
Hello mọi người, mình là Matt, với vai trò vị trí đi rừng của Cerberus.
Xin chào, mình là BMM, người chơi vị trí đường mid của Cerberus.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Fly, mình là support của Cerberus.
Xin chào mọi người, mình tên thật là Trần Ngọc Phúc, mình là xạ thủ của Cerberus Esports.
Xin chào mọi người, mình là Hiếu Bon, hiện tại đang thi đấu cho Cerberus đường vị trí Baron.
Xin chào tất cả các bạn, mình là Taco và hiện tại mình đang đi đường giữa cho Cerberus.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người, mình là Eli Đỗ Thành Đạt, mình là người đi ADC cho team Flash.
Xin chào các bạn khán giả, mình là Jisoo đến từ team Flash.
Xin chào mọi người, mình là Coyote, người chơi đường giữa đến từ team Flash tốc chiến, đại diện cho khu vực Việt Nam.
Ba từ mình miêu tả về team Cerberus là đẹp trai, đẹp trai, đẹp trai.
Thì nếu mà để suy nghĩ về team của em thì nếu mà ba từ đó thì chắc là vui vẻ, hòa đồng và nhiệt huyết.
Kể từ tròn một năm Summer Cup cho nên là giải WCS Finals lần này em rất phấn khích.
Mình cảm thấy khá là vui mừng bởi vì đây là lần đầu tiên mình tham gia giải đấu quốc tế.
Tại giải đấu lần này mình chờ mong là team mình sẽ đạt được top 4 và giữ cái vé đi chung kết thế giới.
Điều là mình trông chờ nhất là cái cúp của giải đấu lần này.
Theo mình, đội tuyển mạnh nhất ở phiên bản này là Flatwork.
Vì Blackwood có lối đánh khá nhanh và dứt khoát.
Với sức mạnh hiện tại và nếu như bọn em có thể giữ vững phong độ thì ứng cử viên cho chức vô địch sắp tới chắc chắn là team Flash.
Cảm ơn mọi người đã theo dõi tụi mình, hãy cổ vũ cho tụi mình giải đấu sắp tới nhé.
Giải đấu lần này thì mình sẽ cố gắng cùng đồng đội mang chiếc cúp vô địch về cho Việt Nam.
สวัสดีครับพวกเราตัวแทนประเทศไทยนะครับจากทีม WCS Esports ครับ ผมอาชินี่ครับผมโนเอลครับผมโกลเด้นฟีครับผมแบงค์ครับ
สวัสดีครับ พวกเราทีม EVOS Esports ผม G4 ครับ
ผมวรัตครับผมลอยครับผมแฟร์เพเยอร์ครับผมลีเนียครับผมแคสตานครับว่าทีมสั้นๆเหรอครับก็คงเป็นโหดมากๆครับเพราะว่าทีมเราโหดมากๆครับ
นิยามสั้นๆของ EVOS นะครับก็คือกดดันมากครับเพราะว่าทีมเราเนี่ยก็เป็นตัวเต็งมาโดยตลอดแล้วก็เป็นตัวผมเองด้วยที่ตั้งเป้าหมายไว้สูงตลอดนะครับแล้วก็ผมเชื่อว่าผู้เล่นทุกคนในทีมเนี่ยมี potential ในการทำสิ่งนี้ครับ
รู้สึกยังไงที่ได้ไป WCS ครับก็คงรู้สึกดีนะครับเพราะว่าเราก็ได้เป็นตัวแทนประเทศไทยนะครับในการไปแข่งในรายการระดับนานาชาตินะครับก็จะทำให้ดีที่สุด
รู้สึกดีใจครับแล้วก็รู้สึกเสียใจที่ไม่ได้แชมป์ครับแต่ว่าโดยรวมก็รู้สึกดีครับที่ว่ายังได้ไปอยู่ครับ
เป้าหมายของ WCS คืออยากติดท็อป 4 ใน C ครับผมอยากเป็นตัวแทนประเทศไทยในการแข่งเวทีระดับโลกครับผม
ตั้งเป้าหมายว่าเป็นแชมป์ครับของทัวร์นี้ครับแล้วก็ไม่อยากพลาดเหมือนเดิมนะครับ
ทีมไหนที่เป็นตัวเต็งครับก็คงเป็นทีมบุรีรัมย์ยูไนเต็ดอีสปอร์ตครับเพราะว่าเขาสร้างประวัติศาสตร์หลายภาคในประเทศมาครับน่าจะเป็นทีมแฟดบูมนะครับเพราะว่าฟอร์มในการแข่งเขานี่ค่อนข้างจะดีมากครับแบบแพ้น้อยมากอยากฝากให้แฟนคลับก็อยากให้แฟนๆที่เชียร์พวกเราติดตามพวกเราไปจนถึงรอบสุดท้ายเลยครับพวกเราจะทำให้ดีที่สุดครับ
อยากฝากอะไรถึงแฟนๆเหรอครับก็ฝากติดตามพวกเราใน WCS นี้ด้วยครับ
大家好，我是来自闪电狼的飞龙路选手拉挺座康，然后我来自大师赛区。
大家好，我是来自 One Team 的辅助位选手宁甲七，我来自 WCS 大师赛区。
我想我们团队的优点应该是稳健、团结、敢打吧。然后我们的稳健的风格，就是因为我们在真物件方面，然后的营运上面也做得比别人好。然后团结部分就是在进行检讨的时候，然后我们不会因为自己个人的想要成一些英雄，然后不去听其他队友的意见。然后敢打就是我们在争夺一些小龙团战的时候，我们只会打我们想要打的架，我们不会去随便乱打，除非对面想来送。
用3个形容词形容我的团队的话，我相信第一个一定是团结，因为我们认为激斗峡谷这个游戏，如果你不团结，就没有办法就是走向胜利。那第二个的话就是互相信任嘛。因为团结中，如果你没有互相信任队友的话，其实你们并没有办法做好团结这件事情。那第3个其实就是友善。其实我们整体队伍的气氛其实非常非常好。我们认为就是互相良性的沟通是可以很好的建立团队优势这块。
进入 WCS 总决赛感想是，我觉得蛮兴奋的，因为毕竟很久没有打进，我们已经沉寂1年了，然后这次终于在比赛上面有所表现，然后蛮令人期待的。
对进入 WCS 总决赛的感想，就是其实心情并没有到非常开心吧，因为我认为我们在大师赛区总决赛这一块打的地方并不是很好，那希望可以在后面可以做出一些改变。
我希望我们团队在这场比赛中可以至少拿到前2名的成绩，然后尽量是有门票啦。然后希望我个人的期许是至少可以拿一次5连杀吧，因为毕竟没有在比赛上拿过，最多就4杀而已。
那对于 WCS 总决赛的期许的话，我们队友的目标一定是以总冠军为主。那我自己个人会希望我把这个团战给开好，就是帮队友建立一个好的开团优势，然后让队友可以安心的输出。那目标的话还是以总冠军为主吧。
最 害怕的对手应该是 BRU 吧，因为毕竟他们的风格跟我们的风格是完全不一样。他们的风格比较属于那种疯狗式的打法，然后希望这次在遇到他们的时候，我们也可以用相同的方式打他们回去，让他们知道他们不能这样玩。
我认为 WCS 总决赛最有竞争力的队伍应该是大师赛区的闪亮，因为我自己认为，其实，在 WCS 整个全部11支队伍里面的话，闪亮的就是他们的秩序是做得非常非常好的。他们在所有的规划上都做得有条有序，在所有的比赛上打起来，我觉得闪亮是最有竞争力的一支队伍。
谢谢各位一路从例行赛支持我们到季后赛，然后到现在的总决赛。如果没有你们的话，我们可能没有办法表现得这么好。感谢有你们，然后希望我们可以拿下世界冠军。
那还是要跟所有支持我们One Team的粉丝说，谢谢你们一路以来支持。那也请你们在 WCS 总决赛中继续支持我们One Team，我们一定会好好的打进世界大赛。
Hi, I'm Lance Hernandez, also known as Kaigo, and I'm from Team RRQ. We're from the Philippines.
Hi, my name is Miguel Vincent Quizon, and my IGN is Araisan from Team FENNEL Adversity, and we represent Philippines in the upcoming WCS Finals tournament.
I would describe my team as aggressive, instinctual, and mechanical, because our team usually relies on the players' mechanical skills and instincts and aggressiveness to defeat and overpower opponents.
Ang una po sa lahat ay makulit kasi marami lang po silang ginagawang mga unnecessary na bagay. Tapos yung pangalawa po ay gutumin kasi lagi po silang nagugutom kahit mga madaling araw na po sa umaga. Tapos yung pangatlo, maingay po kasi minsan po masyado na nakakarindi sa tenga yung mga ingay na ginagawa nila.
It feels great, but to be honest, we didn't really expect that we would win it all. But I'm glad that we didn't give up and we really tried our best making it through the lower brackets.
Napakasaya po na nakarating kami sa WCS Finals kasi sa lahat ng hard work at practice na pinagdaanan namin sa mga puyat, naging worth it lahat kasi umabot kami dito.
Of course, we're looking to test our team and our team strengths against the top teams of the other regions.
Ang inaasahan ko po na mas tougher yung competition sa WCS Finals compared sa Philippines. Kasi yung mga kasali po ay mga top contender from other regions na mga champions and runner-ups.
For me, it's Flash Wolves from Taiwan because they play really well and they play really clean Wildrift.
Isa po sa top contender na feeling ko sa WCS Finals ay yung Team Flash po kasi po parang masyado po silang flexible sa mga draft nila lagi sa nakikita ko sa tournament sa pag nanonood po ako sa Vietnam. Kaya po tingin ko sila din po yung isa sa pinaka best contender para sa WCS Finals.
To all our fans and supporters out there, please watch and support our team as we compete at the WCS Finals this upcoming May.
Hi po sa lahat ng mga sumusuporta sa FENNEL Adversity since day one. Sana po pagpatuloy niyo po kaming suportahan this upcoming WCS Finals. Gagalingan pa po namin at gagawin namin ang lahat para makapag-qualify kami sa upcoming Icons Tournament na magaganap sa Europe.
Oke, nama gue Dewa, gue dari Indonesia. Nama tim gue adalah Cerberus Esports. Tim gue dalam 3 kata itu troller, tukang tilt, sama jago. Alasannya ya emang begitulah kita, tukang troll. perasaan gue bisa masuk ke WCS Final, tentunya gue sangat seneng ya. Kerja keras gue terbayarkan. Semoga gue di WCS Final bisa mendapatkan slot ke Worlds. Tim yang pengen gue temuin di WCS Final RRQ. Tim yang paling terberat itu mungkin Vietnam sama Thailand. Itu tim terberat menurut gue. Alasannya emang mereka keras-keras sih. Pesan gue untuk supporter tim gue, tetap dukung kita. Semoga kita dapat mendapatkan slot ke World Championship. Amin. Persis Solo masuk.
Hello guys, we're Sam Knight and we're from the NYSG region. Old folks home. It's because our team has a lot of experienced, fine gentlemen, some well-aged gentlemen in our team. That's why we are old folks home.
Why give me a tap? This is the time we make it to Worlds.
Yeah!
Since we are in the playoff directly, so we no longer have the group stage curse, so I think we just have to go to Worlds. What can we do?
One-way ticket.
Yeah. I think pretty much everyone is pretty strong. Flash Wolf, VRU, Team Flash, they're all good, so I think, yeah, but we beat them all.
I'll see you guys in the game during the WCS Finals that's coming up. So yeah, stay tuned guys.
Living my own pace. Ain't no running round, wrapping myself up. Ay, ay. Pulling me back up. Ain't no knocking down, healing my heartache. Ooh. Flying miles ahead on my shadow. Mojo. I'll be climbing up another level. Mojo. Flying miles ahead on my shadow. Mojo. I'll be climbing up another level. Mojo. Living my own pace. Ain't no running round, wrapping myself up. Ay, ay. Pulling me back up. Ain't no knocking down, healing my heartache. Ooh. Flying miles ahead of all my shadow. Mojo, I'll be climbing up another level. Mojo, flying miles ahead of all my shadow. Mojo, I'll be climbing up another level. Mojo.
Some days I just can't get up, comatose, stupid. Same old energy, scared of what the future holds for me and all my friends. We want so much better. We can only get there if we all just come together. So take my hand, let's own this moment. No one can stop us now. Your love is what's most important. No one's gonna take us down. So love me now. We ain't got a lot, but we got this moment. Love me now. We ain't got a lot, but we got each other. Recognition, demolition, I just need your light. Upside down, turn it around. I know you know I'm right. Take this love and give it, girl, your heartbeat. We can only get there, it's a two-way street. So take my hand, let's own this moment. No one can stop us now. Your love is what's most important. And no one's gonna take us down. So love
I can hear whispers and far away. I can hide, but I'll try. I see the walls are caving in. I can hear whispers and far away. I can hide, but I'll try. I see the walls are caving in. If I were to stay in here forever, I would want the sun to come alive.
You say that you know the truth. Inside of me, inside you. Always got something to prove. Don't know what it means to lose. What would you do? Oh, look at the light in your eyes. Beneath the veil of the skies. Baby, keep holding on tight. We'll win the fight. Oh. I've been walking that walk. What I hear it's all Tokyo. Never taking days off. Wait till a month's up. Yeah, that show me love. Oh, always play the same song. Don't forget what's right from wrong. You just got to hang on. Take a chance, let it go. You can never that you want. I can see. Fly with me. Come on, baby, set me free. You say that you know the truth. Inside of me, inside you. Always got something to prove. Don't know what it means to lose. What would you do? Oh, look at the light in your eyes. Beneath the veil of the skies. Baby, keep holding on tight. We'll win the fight. Oh.
Never get enough, we could have it all. Gonna take a chance, we can never fall. Yeah, I feel so strong, unstoppable. Just hold on tight, gotta let it roll. Don't stop this feeling, let's take it too far. Live for these moments, let's reach for the stars. A million to one. Invincible, invincible. So wild and so young. 'Cause you and me. A million to one. Invincible, invincible. So wild and so young. 'Cause we are invincible. Yeah, we are invincible. Oh, never get enough, we could have it all. Gonna take a chance, you can never fall. Feel so strong, unstoppable. Just hold on tight, gotta let it roll. Don't stop this feeling, let's take it too far. Live for these moments, let's reach for the stars. A million to one. Invincible, invincible. So wild and so young. 'Cause you and me. A million to one. Invincible, invincible. So wild and so young. 'Cause we are invincible. Yeah, we are invincible. Oh, we are invincible. Invincible, invincible. Invincible, invincible. A million to one. So wild and so young. A million to one. So wild and so young. A million to one. Invincible, invincible. So wild and so young. 'Cause you and me. A million to one. Invincible, invincible. So wild and so young. 'Cause we are invincible. Yeah, we are invincible. Oh, we are invincible.
Phúc vào, một tình huống có quá nhiều năng lượng nữa. Cái là rất khỏe ở tình huống này. Kill that right, but it's just too far. and they're going to get the kill. Semua riposte, cakep banget, lengkap lagi. Không, nhà biết rồi, nhưng mục tiêu được lựa chọn của em lại là hàng lưới.
Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift for the best of a team in South Asia to carve their journey when it comes to the WCS Finals play-ins, day number 2. And before that, this is brought to you by Riot Games, and thank you for our sponsors, Coca-Cola. I'm your host today, Choo Choo. We'll be joined by our always amazing panelists. It's going to be Riku and Odaluz today. How are you guys feeling?
I'm feeling dandy, feeling great. Look at me, I'm dancing in my seat.
I'm feeling super excited because we do know today is going to be a hellish day, definitely. And Odaluz, I can see that yesterday you were crying and today hopefully you'll be smiling.
Well, definitely. You know, I'm looking forward for a better outcome today. FENNEL Adversity will only be playing once, but more than that, I'm just so excited because finally we will see a region that, you know, that we have waited for a long time, and that's OCE.
Oh yeah, speaking of OCE, we have SLG joining in today. And I'm happy because right now this is the team that actually flew across Oceania just to be here. And finally we get a team to actually play here offline. How do you think about this, Riku?
I think it's great because you have this, you know, the studio energy. You know? I think that could be like a buff later on.
I mean, like, definitely there's no problems when it comes to their performance. Definitely they are having the best internet to be used against for all the other teams. But can they actually pull it off? But before that, you know what? You guys who just joined us today, you have no clue what's happening in the tournament. Let's just jump straight into the tournament format just to be familiar with it.
The WCS has reached its final battleground. 11 teams have proven themselves on their local stage. But as the Wild Rift Icons Global Championship approaches, only those who truly deserve greatness will be rewarded. One last competition leads to global representation. This is the WCS Finals. We begin with the play-ins, where 5 teams will fight for only 2 playoff slots. All 5 teams will play in a best-of-2 round robin, where the first place team will proceed immediately to the playoff bracket. For the first and second runners-up, only 1 spot remains, and they must face each other in a best-of-5 showdown. In the playoffs, our play-in hopefuls meet the best Southeast Asia has to offer in an 8-team double elimination bracket featuring the local champions. Make the Final 4 and qualify for Icons. Be the last remaining team and earn the title of the first ever WCS champion. The choices we make define us. For our teams, their choices will lead them to greatness or to their elimination. So, what will they choose?
Already in our day 2 of play-ins, yesterday has been accelerating for most of us. We definitely saw, you know, some of the secret strategy and some of still hiding and sneaking around the corner. We haven't seen the best of them just yet. But speaking of which, we have the best of 5 teams giving another chance to get themselves into playoff. Now, we did mention about the prediction before this, who you guys advance and what so forth. But things, can they really make it based on yesterday's performance now or to lose?
Well, yeah, there's still a chance for FLA, but it's more of like
there's just one team that will be advancing. And as we look into the recap here, Chu,
Yeah, we're gonna jump into what really happened if you guys missed yesterday and what we're talking about, just to see a glimpse of, to get the grasp of the idea what really about the drafting and how it turns out. We watched over for one Team Esports versus FLA at first. You were devastated for FLA yesterday.
well, kinda, but
Kinda.
the thing about it is that it's a 1-1. It's not too bad, right? 0-2 will definitely be bad for you and for your team's chances. But what I want to talk about is yesterday, me and Omo, we asked this question. Are marksmen now back in the meta? Danny has been playing it, and there's one champion that really caught my attention, and that's Lucian.
Yeah,
Lucian, so far, 4-0. No loss as of yet.
Exactly right. There's a lot of strong marksmen, or rather AD carries, in the play-ins right now that want to show their skills, that want to play these late-game scaling carries like the Kai'Sa and the Vayne, and the Lucian seems to be the answer, especially in the 2v2 scenario, even in the mid lane. And when we talk about this interesting like rock, paper, scissors happening in the duo lane primarily, without the influence of the jungler, without the mid laners roaming towards bot, we're looking at, Lucian defeating Vayne. But Ziggs removes the kill pressure on any of the early game champions like the Lucian. And Senna set is a different iteration where you can be aggressive in a 2v2 standpoint, but if you want to chill out, if you want to stabilize the lane and make sure you remove kill pressure as well, especially if the Ziggs is not available, then you play Senna Nasus. Maybe even we get to see a Senna Singed.
Exactly, and look at this. We have two marksmen on one side, Cerberus Esports going double ham on this Corki in the middle lane, Varus on the Dragon lane, and it actually won them that game because, as we remember, there was one very good arrow that connected onto the Kazakhs, ultimately winning them that team fight and getting them that Dragon.
Yeah, I love the return of the double AD carry, by the way, the double marksman in the mid lane and in the bottom portion of the map. It's not the same, I mean, we've seen it a couple of times before, but it's always Senna, Ashe, utility bot lane, and then marksman in the mid lane. Now it's different. It's both AD carries for both these lanes. So I like the return. Last time we saw this, it was popularized by one team. It was very popular back in the Summer Super Cup. I am loving the return of this type of composition.
So we can see a lot of double ADs after this. But the thing is, we saw the itemization just now popped up quite a lot when it comes to the lower turn. Almost all of the game, one of the champions that we saw just now have this first item Hullbreaker. So I know you're not a big fan of it, Riku.
Every time I see a first item Hullbreaker, this is exactly the face I make, because I know a lot of these teams, especially in the play-ins, love to fight 5v5. So having a first item Hullbreaker, and then you want to fight at the first dragon, at the Rift Herald, it nullifies your first item. It does nothing in a team fight. So this is my expression every single time.
But for me, okay, not to be the contrarian here, but it's more of like thinking outside the box. Why do teams keep on picking Hullbreaker first item? Remember that mid laners are the ones that, go for this item a lot. Corki, we saw Akshan as well. I think the 4 minutes to 8 minutes, they want to maximize their side lane pressure. At least that alone gives them the reason to buy it first. On top of the other options that they have, and so far the teams are not. And so far the teams
not happy with it.
Yeah, I know, but so far the teams are still able to play around it so much that the Hullbreaker's impact is not felt outright.
You know what, whatever reason you are just throwing out for Riku, she's just not going to reason with it. But hey, we'll leave that quarrel for a bit, but we're going to jump into the match schedule for today. Who will be against each other? And we do know there's only 3 series for today, so let's jump straight into it. The first one, we have Cerberus Esports versus SLG, their debut here for day number 2, and EVOS versus One Team Esports for the next series, and FLA versus SLG for today. Now we do know this is going to be a bit interesting, especially in the middle bracket one, which is going to be second series EVOS versus One. But for SLG side, this is going to be Cerberus, they're fighting against Riku.
Oh yeah, I know. This is going to be a very, very tough match for SLG, and I'm excited to talk about it later. But yeah, this is the debut of SLG over here at the WCS, and I'm excited to see them how they perform against, the top, the currently top in the standing CES.
I kind of want to just be excited about the FLA versus SLG one, but I cannot get my attention away from the second match, EVOS versus One Team. So much history. This is a rematch from the Summer Super Cup, and it took, how many months? 6, 7 months?
That's a long
to
time.
get back to, this epic battle between these two Goliaths.
Oh, well, there's a lot of storyline behind it. They have been here forever, we do know, since the dawn of Wild Rift itself, and it's going to be happening again, but we have more spicy stories later on, as we're going to jump definitely for later on when it comes to Team Roster. We haven't seen a lot when it comes to SLG, right? We've seen yesterday when it comes to the roster of all the other 4 teams, but SLG, how do they play? How do Oceania play differently? Will it be the same as the other South Asia region? What are your thoughts on this?
It's a big question mark. Then again, it's their practice environment isn't as I would say as competitive as what we have here in Southeast Asia. I mean, you queue up on a ranked game and you will basically face other regions as well. But for OSE, they play amongst themselves. Now, if the question is, do they have the talent in that region? The answer is absolutely yes. League of Legends PC-wise, we're looking at Destiny, Lost, we're looking at FBI, Fudge. Those household names that we are now accustomed in seeing in NALCS was actually part of the OCE region.
Yeah, and you never know, right? That sort of, or quote, isolation, maybe you'll evolve like a Kha'Zix, and maybe be that answer perhaps and catch everybody by surprise.
But hey, let's not waste any more time. Let's see our first roster of the day, which is going to be Cerberus first. So these are the players Hubon will be playing today instead of Taku. We have Mass for the jungler, BM mid, Genza, and Fly. Now, this is where it gets spicy. Hubon in the fray for Riku. Do you think it's going to change?
I think that's definitely going to change the dynamic, just because of how Taku performed yesterday. I mean, he landed a lot of key showstoppers into face breakers in their matches yesterday. So there was a big question mark on how they can deal with 4-1 split push. Maybe this is the reason why they did this.
This is more of them just showing another face. I know that they have, or we have dubbed them as the team that has so many faces. They can put Lucian onto BMM or onto Genza. They can put Karma onto BMM, onto Genza. And yesterday, they had a flawless record. Everyone was so on point, but I would love to give credit to who really made it work. And I think it's Fly. He's the glue guy for Cerberus. His engages, his thresh is still being banned worthy, right? And his Gragas engages was so on point.
Oh yeah, definitely. So going back, three faces. It's actually 3 heads. I mean, it's Cerberus, right? It's Cerberus with the three heads.
Love me some dogs.
So I heard somebody have a bit of an artwork for Cerberus Esports specifically. I'm not sure if the production have it, but we're definitely going to show it later. Definitely, we want to see the artwork of one of our panelists here today. But speaking of Cerberus, they are still undefeated when it comes to the play-ins. They have a huge chance, we're talking about, to get into the playoff, one step closer, and then into the global icon later on. But do you think today they might face their first loss for Cerberus?
They've shown, I feel like they've already went past the air quote teams that will give them problems, like One Team and like FLA. So I don't think they'll get any losses today, too. No.
Yeah.
So SLG feels like a newcomer in the scene. Have to go through many layers of difficulties. They are in ordeal right now and being guarded by Cerberus for the ending.
Yeah, exactly. The gatekeepers, right? I believe that Cerberus.
Can we see production? Can we see the art, the Cerberus art right now?
We have to do it right now.
I really want to see it.
Yeah.
If it's that scary as a gatekeeper for the Cerberus.
I'm sure. They're
You're sure?
They're scary. See, isn't that a scary dog? Okay, so
wow, so scary. It's too cute to be scary.
The third one is scary. The first, okay. So this matchup in general, right? This is the labors of Hercules, basically. And the saddest thing is, SLG, like Cerberus is like the 12th and final labor, right? It's the hardest labor, and SLG has to start from the hardest here,
so
which is against Cerberus, huh?
They are the Hercules right now for SLG.
Yeah, SLG is Hercules here, and they have many heads, they have many faces. And the first head, as you can see, as you saw there earlier, it's the normal head of the brown collar, right? It's just a very tame. It's just BMM doing the carry with dual lane like becoming that late game scaling
Uh-huh.
potential with the Senna and the Nessus. And the second head is a little bit grumpy, you know, wearing the collar with a name tag on it that says Serbs. I got this from Grandin. He likes to call them Serbs earlier. and it is more on the iteration of what do you call this, of Mess being the carry. Like we've seen him
Right.
back in the local regional qualifiers where it was playing Kazakhs, it was playing Jax. So
Yeah.
that's a different face for them. And the last face, which is my favorite, is the third head wearing the black collar with a lot of spikes. And that is the full-on aggression playing Lee Sin, Lucian, talking about Renekton. So just Karma as well, just enabling this early to mid-game full-on aggression. And I like the third face, the third head
Of course,
a
Karma.
lot. Of course, Karma. Yeah, and a lot of action.
That's very detailed with the 3
Uh-huh.
heads of very cute doggies. But she says it's very fierce and scary. But hey, what's scary next? We're gonna have EVOS from Thailand region. Let's see what they have on their lineup today. So yeah, there you go. We're waiting for it.
It's okay.
But speaking of EVOS,
we
yesterday's
can talk ahead.
performance, right? They are in the middle bracket right now. So you mentioned about them. Never mind. We're gonna swap over to our newcomer first. Since we're talking about the
Oh.
Cerberus and the Hercules,
Yeah.
let's straight into SLG. What they have on their side. So this gonna be the SLG. They are very mysterious.
I know.
Up to the point, it's only silhouette on this screen.
I tell you, we're going to unlock them at the end of the day. But it's more Smash Logic Gaming. Again, just one thing that I would like to highlight here is we have God v DDD, Utopium, Vamus, and a new support, Fly. We would call him Fly. But the star player here is Vamus, a Dragon Laner for Smash Logic Gaming.
Sky.
Right.
Fly is gonna be
I
Cerberus.
know,
though.
I know.
So how do you
Sky,
pronounce
Sky,
it?
I'm sorry.
Aurora Shun. Aurora. We can call him Aurora.
Aurora, yeah,
Aurora.
possibly,
There
yeah.
you go.
But yeah, Smash Logic Gaming, again, we learned that they want to play wildcard, really. It kind of reminds me of QWQ from last year.
Oh,
they
yeah.
have mechanics, but they tend to play around more on that mechanics that their macro is not as crisp, right? They can beat you. They will play, assassins. They will play possibly the Solana and Seraphine combo in the bot lane. But really, the question here is, are they ready to step up, especially against Cerberus?
Yeah, exactly right. This is going to be like their debut in the WCS. They have to face off against the hardest labor, the hardest trials in the WCS currently, because CES is undefeated. They've 2-0'd every single match yesterday, so this is definitely going to be a big challenge for them.
So, but the thing is, because they are kind of a mysterious team right now, so nobody had a clue about how their strat's working out. I think that's a bit of advantage, because sometimes they might go a bit unconventional.
Look at Vamus. Just look at Vamus. You're right. It is an advantage for you to have some strategy that your opponents will not be accustomed in seeing. They won't be as studied as the other teams. Then again, when it comes to mechanics, these guys have it, right? Again, OCE region. When it comes to talent, there's no questions there.
I think this is going to be a match made in heaven too, because wait, no, in this case, match made in hell. I'm sorry, because you want a strong, like SLG wants to strong arm, win fights, outplay them mechanics wise, and then of course Cerberus, they want to fight, they want to rumble as well. So I'm so looking forward to what the draft is going to look like as well.
But imagine if Cerberus actually taken down by the side of SLG. Now that's a Smash Logic statement.
That will be Hercules, right?
Hercules.
Yeah, no, Hercules that
Final
we're talking
form.
about. Exactly. Because we're talking about Cerberus here, right? And who was able to beat Hercules? Who was able to beat Cerberus? It was Hercules. Now, the question is, what version of Hercules will show up? Will it be the Hercules that's still
In training?
or will we see the buffed Hercules?
Are you talking about the Disney Hercules
I
now?
know.
You have a different version? Which version you have in your head right now? I'm so
Sorry,
confused.
the Disney one.
Do entertain us. I do want to know her mind of Hercules. We definitely have the same vibe here, but
Of
I'm not sure
course.
that one. Is it going to be a different Hercules that kind of slash anything else along the way? Or is it not just the Cerberus?
I don't know. It's just a Disney in my head. Maybe a little bit of Kingdom Hearts. I don't know on the side.
But hey, we did mention if they manage to slay out the gatekeeper, the Cerberus for SLG, definitely they can actually be up with the living. But if it's not, they're gonna have to start with the layers of the underground hellish. We have so many layers of it. We're gonna leave it to you guys. But do you think it's still at least possible for them to actually get one out of it for the series?
Let me do this impression. Right?
What does one mean?
There will always be a chance, right? However, how small that chance is, we will find out. But still, if the question is, will there be a chance? There is.
But hey, we're gonna have to put on hold because they definitely gonna be one of the best to watch out for these two teams who have no clue about SLG. But let's talk about EVOS next from the Thai region. We saw them yesterday and they were amazing, but they are ups and downs for them.
I'm a big fan of EVOS ever since their performance in the Summer Super Cup and taking the championship title. I'm a big fan of Valdez because at the time, Valdez was the only one that could make Fiora jungle work in that tournament. And he kept doing it and doing it and doing it, and no one was practically punishing him. And the tag team with G4 as well, playing, even though like G4 on paper, really mechanically amazing, but he steps back a little bit sometimes and plays utility, plays Galio for the team, plays that setup for the entirety of EVOS. That's why I really love their dynamic.
And it's just now back to Valdez being able to show to everyone that he's a jungler to watch out for.
Yes.
Remember, the very first Baron steal was done by this guy, at least in this tournament, right? Valdez is just on a different level, and that's the reason why EVOS Esports is willing to give their resources over to this guy. Now, the question about EVOS, will they stick with this roster? Because we saw on their first series yesterday, G4 was relegated to support, letting a new mid laner in Linia, a rookie, play in the international stage.
I think that's sort of their training in this play-in, just to make sure they can actually make something new in the playoff. But do you think it might actually work it out? For any of you guys, you think about G4 being relegated. I don't like to call it relegated because support plays such a big part as well. But we do know his potential is in mid lane.
Yeah, well, I would call it relegated just because of his mechanic prowess, right? You're now being forced to play the Nasus.
Sorry for all the support players out there.
G4 has a duality in the mid lane, right? We talked about how he can play utility. He's also been playing a lot of assassins recently in the regional tournament. So if you put him in support, he can play Zed support.
Yeah,
he can play Zed Akali. No, support Akali. but yeah, it probably works only in like ranked games, but not this one. Not here.
I agree. It's too much at stake, actually, because right now, they kind of in a middle bracket. We mentioned about this yesterday. The middle bracket right now is kind of you win or you lose, you do or you die to up to that point, right?
Exactly. There's so narrow path to victory. Again, when we talk about this play-in stage, it's very tight. It's very tight. Every game really counts.
Oh, that's why we call it hellish today, because definitely the Cerberus is gatekeeping all the way up there. But hey, we have next one in line. Let's just jump straight into another team, which I think is going to be One Team Esports.
One Team. One Team is a team where, while watching their games, they really like their 25-minute win condition, right? And that's why the Ziggs has been an incredibly important champion to slow down the game, because that's definitely their win condition. But the thing is, a lot of these teams have figured it out. They're banning all of these wave clear champions and forcing them into champions that, the second layer, the next best thing or the next good thing, maybe like a Lux. So I like what the other teams are reading against One Team. So now this is a new day for them to begin. Like, what else can they do if those important champions for them are banned?
For me, if you were a fan of EVOS Esports since Summer Super Cup, Autolus is a big fan of One Team Esports, and we are still looking at the same set of players, except for Yumao. Now, I'm so excited about Yumao because so far it's been popping off. Their game yesterday in where they won, Yumao was 11-1-6 on a Kai'Sa that is engaging for the team. That's just how confident this guy is, and kind of brings a different dimension to the team. I do understand what your point, Riku. They tend to slow down the game, try to reach that point in where the Elder Dragon will secure them the game, and sometimes it's risky. But knowing One Team, if you give them the lead, they will most likely just take care of it and end up winning.
They're going to take care of it a long time. Take like 10 minutes longer. Yeah, they're going to baby that lead.
But do you think any chance that halfway through they might actually change their playset for a bit for one? They might be evolving.
Depends on what's open. Like, they're forced to play early just because all of the late game scaling champions are going to be banned anyway. So they're forced to evolve because of their draft.
But I agree with you regarding Yuma. We saw how insane when it comes to the marksman if it's in the Yuma's hands. But the thing is, we have seen a lot of APC yet when it comes to the dual laner today.
I love his zigs though, but his locks, I feel that he's being more reserved on this champion, mainly because of its kit. But Riku was on point on that one. It really revolves around the draft. Yesterday, they faced, adversities against Cerberus Esports because Cerberus Esports really planned well against them.
But we're gonna put on hold for that because right now we're just gonna moving on to the next one. Last but not least, we have FENNEL Adversity. Now this is gonna be both of your favorites, definitely, and I'm loving them as well. But speaking of yesterday's performance,
Autolus glared at me when you said your favorites. In my mind, I was like, third favorite in the play-in.
What happened now?
Oh, you know what happened. But I know you want to say something. I know you wanna.
Well, yeah, it's kind of difficult to process this as early as now. Like this Horizon thing, it's an experiment. It worked half of the time, right? Because their score is
Horizon thing.
This Horizon into the support. Again, guys, for everyone watching, that we really did miss yesterday's games. Rafi, or Rave, as we call him, is not playing as a support of Danny. He's been, a long-time support of Danny, and Horizon is now subbing in to put on that aggression.
Oh yeah, because I really thought that Rafe was the best pair for Danny to enable him to be aggressive as maybe a Kaisa or a Vayne. But Arisen, it seems to double, times two, FENNEL, not only Danny's lane, but the rest of the squad. Like, he enables the squad to be extra aggressive, which is quite it's deviating from the usual FENNEL Adversity, where they're quite similar to One Team, they're very slow, but when Arisen is there in the bottom portion of the map supporting, boom, they suddenly become extra aggressive. Reminds me of EVOS a little bit.
So both of you kind of prefer this lineup than actually having Rafe in the roster right now.
Yeah, I don't. I understand that you want to play aggressive, but I still think that this is not the time for you to throw out experiments. You became the #2 team. At one point, I believe that they were the best team in the Philippines, and Philippines is a region that I believe is one of the strongest in Southeast Asia. So why change something that's already working?
He's definitely upset right now, but hey, put it on hold again because right now we're gonna walk into our first series later on, which is gonna be Cerberus Esports versus SLG. Now, as always, I do know your name is Autolus, but hopefully you change it auto win because when you predict, it will automatically winning for the team. But for your prediction, the scores for CES versus SLG, what is gonna be?
Cerberus Esports for me 2-0.
Woof woof, 2-0. It's gonna be Cerberus for all this lineup today, with all of us getting a 2-0 versus SLG for me as well. Hey, I'm saying the whole lineup here, definitely. We saw what they did yesterday. They are still undefeated, definitely. Which we're gonna say Cerberus versus SLG. The one that's dominating versus the mysterious one, because we do know SLG very unconventional, and the lineup is kind of, is it this one or that one? Do you think it's going to be a hard time for Cerberus in the first place?
Is it going to be hard for SLG?
For Cerberus.
For Cerberus? No! Wait,
Come on, give it a bit.
No, cause right, they're like, we talked about this, we brought this up before. Like, this is literally the tale of Hercules, the labors of Hercules, right?
Yep.
So this is the 12th and final trial in the tale, which is SLG. They're the Hercules in this tale. This is their debut in the WCS. This is going to be very difficult because this is the hardest, and this is their first time. Their first match is against the dogs, Cerberus. So at this point, I want to say that this is going to be a comfy match for Cerberus, but they still have to keep their guard up because in the tale, Hercules destroyed Cerberus. Well, not destroyed, but pretty much defeated them.
Yeah, I was able to win. And for me, again, SLG, as we look at it, I know that I did predict against them at 2-0 because that's just the most logical prediction that I can bring out here. But to think that we have OC here as a region is worth celebrating, right?
Yeah.
It's a long time coming, and the long wait is over, and I cannot wait to see them in action, right? Face to face, because to me, they offer something more to this region. They will just make us stronger as a whole.
They flew across just to be here, and we can't wait to see their performance, also their faces. But hey, we have another series also on the go, which is going to be EVOS versus One Team Esports. This prediction, now this is going to be a hard one. Starting off, the furthest away is going to be Riku first, EVOS or One, and how the score will be.
It ain't hard for me. I think it's EVOS 2-0.
Wow. Wow.
It's been the case since Summer Super Cup, and I'm sticking with my guns here. One Team 2-0.
Wow, this is interesting. It's very different between these two panelists. Now, I'm going to be the one playing the neutral part. I know it sounds cowardly, but I'm going to go for 1-1 for both EVOS and One Team. Just to be fair, okay? Just to be fair. But we saw just now, we saw yesterday, how One kind of scaling up. But if they really can scale up to late game, even though they lost the game with, I think they picked the Lux one.
Yep.
But it still managed to kind of flip the table for a tiny moment. What are your thoughts about this, Odolus?
That's the veteran leadership that they have in Cianio, right? One Team, again, Cianio was the one that was able to open up that lane and was able to extend the game into forever, right? I think that was a 26-minute game, if I'm not mistaken. But more than that, I kind of just want to remember how EVOS won that SSC tournament as a whole. And I believe it was at the back of Tipper. Tipper was just an absolute madman in the Baron lane. Now, where's Tipper? Riku, are you sure about this EVOS thing?
I'm sure, because you know what happened in Game 5 at Summer Super Cup?
Okay.
G4 Galio, he was setting up for the
Alright.
entire squad. That game was incredibly long, but in the end, G4 saw an opportunity, taunted everybody, ended the game. So I'm
Alright.
very confident with this 2-0 against One Team.
This is actually a sequel because back in Summer Super Finals, she predicted for EVOS and I predicted for One Team. I think I was just one of the few that really predicted for One Team to win that championship. Ended up me being, on the crying end because I ended up losing. But here today, I guarantee you, I'll be the one with might and just head up high. That's it.
I feel like I want to say round 2. Ding, 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 you guys fight. But hey, we're going to hold as we're going to walk into our first series. First, let's take a peek between Cerberus Esports versus also SLG. Now straight into the draft we go. You mentioned about, is it viable now for a marksman? Do they have to ban it out? We'll be looking over, maybe ban out Seraphine because it's SLG. Hey, what are your thoughts, Riku?
Okay, Seraphine. Seraphine unlocks so many things, right? We've seen it, Seraphine being paired with an Olaf as well, because it's basically long-range Karma, right? You do every single thing that a Karma does as well. You have Initiate, you have the shields, you have movement speed. So I think it's just a long-range Karma. And it's also, in a laning phase, I think it's a really good counter to a Karma lane. So if they do pick up that Seraphine, and if they leave open the Karma, I think that's highly possible.
Still a longer cooldown though, if you ask
That's
me.
true. That's also true.
But again, when we talk about SLG, we have to focus on Vamas. Whatever he picks up, it will be the most exciting point for SLG. Now, question still arises. He has a new support, right? That's a new dynamic that we have to uncover here. And so far, as we wait for the ban, you mentioned, Riku, that Cerberus has a Karma that they have picked twice in a row yesterday on series number 1, and they used it so well.
Yeah, and the best part is they can flex it in the mid lane and as well as in their duo lane, depending on what the draft is going to look like up against SLG. So really excited how it's going to rotate this time around, because again, it's not Taku at the top portion of the map.
But I don't know, they're still taking a lot of time to ban the first one. We have so many ideas out for them, but definitely they are taking their own sweet time. I agree with the sort of Votulus saying that they have a new dynamic, taking Aurora in the team here. Definitely it will change so much when it comes to even laning phase. It's going to be a bit of a problem.
They say that Sona and Seraphine, the Songstress bot duo, is an easy pair that you could just play on the fly, I disagree. You have to have a very good synergy in order for you to maximize your kit because it revolves around cooldown and resources, resource being mana.
Yeah, Senna Seraphine lane is really good against lanes that are like Ziggs. Basically lanes that do not do anything, that do not kill you. So I think it's really good for mid-game compositions like Olaf, Lucian mid, because you enable them and you basically, once Olaf presses Ragnarok, you have all the movement speed in the world to join the Olaf with the kit that a Sona and Seraphine has.
But you mentioned about Olaf and coming in, but we do also have Cerberus changing up with Hubon taking the Baron lane. And we saw Taku yesterday with a set. That was amazing. Is it going to be the same thing once they actually swap into Hubon here?
I think there was an issue that the casters and the panelists that we kept talking about how there could be an issue with the 4-1 split push, with the 1-3-1, that they have no answer because most of their draft and the way that they play the map is basically just 5v5. And that's the reason why some of the games end so long, even though they win early.
Oh, we finally have our bans.
Okay, finally. But just to add up onto that, Yubon, I believe, is the better set player. So I would consider this move as a genius one because against SLG that really loves their team fight, having that set will just break the team fight open right away, right? Now, looking onto the bans, we see Jace being banned once again. No Jace yet so far in the play-ins.
They don't want to. They're removing that at this point. They don't want to get that because Jace can snowball pretty easily, and we've seen a couple of Jace players that do Hullbreaker first item. Even though I don't like it, it still works.
But hey, they are so open up for the options. They're even gonna skip a ban here just to make sure they have more oceans of champions to actually pick on.
To me, that's more exciting because we get to see more champions open for the taking. On the other side, though, SLG, we now see that the Camille has been prioritized to be taken away. I'm looking at the options here. If it's Yubon's time to pick, I believe this is the time to bring out the set.
Yeah, set is open. Get it, unless you want to pick the Karma. You know, I'm not totally biased I'm not totally biased on Karma, but I think you should pick it, CES.
Do you believe that?
I don't believe you.
Yeah, nobody believes you.
Never.
Everybody can see how obsessed you are.
Yeah,
I'm
Karma's
sorry.
the best champion at the moment in
know
Wild
what?
Rift.
You know what? About Riku and Karma? Because even before Karma was released, right, you were so happy with it being released. And she was so excited, and she was telling tales that back in League of Legends PC, that was their main. So yeah, I don't believe you. That's it.
Karma, but hey, I also play a lot of Karma, but personally I feel like, I don't know, is it just me? Maybe I'm a noob in the first place. It feels like Karma doesn't have actually scaling up to the very late except for the Transcendence Embrace.
That is true. That is very true because she's played to mostly enable the game. She's really strong early to mid. She has really good AP ratios only in the early game, but after that, she can't match any of the big popular AP carries in the bot lane or even in the mid lane. So she's there. That's why you see Ludens Echo Rabadons, and then the rest of the item is very supportive.
Exactly.
Like the Staff of Flowing Water. For ability haste, works so well for her, works so well for her team. I love Karma so much.
I think we should let her cosplay one day as a Karma, just because it's Riku. Okay, but hey, speaking of which, so I want to ask Odos, based on Riku's perspective just now, it means that if you have Karma on your team, you have to end the game quite early then.
Not really. You still have the option to have a super carry or hyper carry. Remember yesterday, they drafted a Lucian in the mid lane with Karma in the bot lane. She just unlocked Lucian on a different level. Like Lucian's power strength, especially in this patch, is this. With the Karma, it's this.
Yeah,
wow.
So good, so good.
It's
that's
just the
that's
best
all I'm going to say.
Maybe we should make a law between Lucian and Karma right now based on this patch, because right now they are like sort of lovers.
Yeah, because you can...
Bye, Senna. Bye,
no, Senna. Senna's going to be mad. But because having a Karma paired with a Lucian allows a Lucian to play like an idiot. Like you just dash forward because you just keep shielding, and then that's totally fine because you're not exactly going to get punished. Unless I say a Seraphine Rakan can easily punish because of how short range these two are. Well, Karma in general.
You've been forcing the Seraphine.
Seraphine too, yeah, Seraphine. Because whenever Karma would go forward just to poke with the inner flame, you just poke back and you have a longer range and you can't go near. But the cooldowns are the sad part about Seraphine. She can't catch up to Karma's cooldown.
I feel like Riku, right? When she sees Seraphine and Karma, it feels like she's looking at a lot of lollipops. Which one I should pick? This is good. I want this too. She wants everything. But hey, we're gonna remake that match for a bit. We're gonna go back into the draft very soon. But you guys actually watching at home, don't forget to drop your prediction as well, because we do want to know who do you think will take away versus Cerberus that's undefeated. But we saw just now a bit of a glimpse about the draft. So are we going in or not right now? Maybe. Maybe we're waiting for it. I can't wait for it.
Since Riku has a trademark champion that she really loves to,
She's
to
obsessed.
see.
It's more than love, it's obsessed.
Now I'm thinking, what champion would I love to
Aren't
see?
you a Singed person, Otto?
Well, I'm a Singed person, but
No.
there's, other champions.
You told me earlier today it was different.
Yeah, in the jungle, there's that one dragon that when it was picked in our region, I was just so excited. That's the Shyvana. I'm not 100% sure if it will be picked up here, but I see it effective if we will see, the Lulu in the mid lane or the Karma. Because again, Karma is that champion that has damage in the early game, but can augment your carries. And what better way to do it than having a hyper carry, not just in the Dragon Lane, but also in the jungle.
You mean like funneling the Shyvana in that way, like to have a mid laner that can sustain the lane just to feed off to the Shyvana. But why are we not looking any Shyvana? I'm dying to see one, but hey, maybe the game's too fast now? What are your thoughts? You're a Shyvana player. He taught me earlier today. He showed me his clips. Look at my clips. I got a penta on my Shyvana. The only dragon that's really important.
If Shyvana gets picked here in WCS Finals, I'm a do something crazy for everyone to see.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
I
do want to
I'm gonna think about it. Maybe, lay an egg or something.
Good
Similar
luck.
to like a dragon. But for me, again, just to answer your question, it's just because it's very much telegraphed. And I think understanding Shyvana takes a long time, right? I did have, a lot of pointers, and the number of games I have on that champion is similar to Riku, I believe. Riku is that person on the Karma, and I believe I'm that person on Shyvana.
Okay, so you guys are obsessed with something, definitely. And somebody gonna lay an egg. If I do hope SLG, since they're unconventional, I do hope they pick a Shyvana now.
No.
Because I want to see Odalus to lay an egg and how he actually works and how he can sound like when he's laying an egg.
Are dragons mammals or reptiles?
What a question. Reptile. I believe it's a reptile. It's a reptile, though.
They lay
Is it?
eggs, right?
Yeah, they lay eggs.
Oh, makes sense why you want to lay
But
an
they
egg.
breathe fire, so they're not cold-blooded. So what
Amazing.
are they? That's why they don't exist anymore, guys, for this reason. But speaking of SLG and Cerberus, we're definitely going to jump into the match very soon. Hope you guys are patient enough for it, because we can't wait. We definitely know your hype and also excitement. But we did saw, I want to mention this regarding you mentioned about Seraphine and also Sona and also maybe Vijana, maybe even all the enchanters in the game itself will be picked by SLG. Is there any certain reason? Because right now, after the patch where we have the Divine Sunderer coming in, nobody wants to pick something that tanky as a support anymore.
For me, I'm okay with them picking the enchanters, just as long as they ban the Thresh. I mean, the Fly's Thresh is so deadly that he can abuse from minute number 1, right? From the laning phase, from the get-go, he could just make an impact on the game. And yeah, whatever. Play the Soraka, I'm okay with it. I'm actually a huge Soraka fan as well.
Oh my god, you know who brought up both Karma and Soraka in the same game? FENNEL Adversity. So the way that it worked was they built a very no reset comp. So basically they kept fighting and fighting, and if they're low, the Soraka would keep healing and they can go again. The other team would just have to go home to base just to heal up.
They're just the Undying then.
The Undying comp. Like the version 2 of it.
Because there is actually a very interesting item now, item choice for Soraka, right? Fimbulwinter. Basically gives you a limited amount of mana and gives you a lot of health, which are the resources that you need in order for you to sustain not just yourself, but also your teammates. Now, Fimbulwinter plus Warmugs, oh my god, that's a dream for
I
Soraka
have to
player.
agree with the Frozen Colossus as the passive. That's definitely going to be very tanky, but it actually works quite right. We saw a lot like Nasus. We did see a couple of Nasus players first pick now these days, and straight with the FIMA Winter. Do you think that's going to be carried on up to the grand finals here, Riku?
If we're talking about like the short term up until tomorrow, I have a big feeling that it's still gonna appear just because of how flexible a Senna lane can be. Do you want an aggressive lane or do you want a stabilizing lane? And you pick the Nasus for the stabilizing late game thingy, and if you want aggressive, you pick Set, Galio, Rakan.
I do know NASA is not really Cerberus thing, but hey, it kind of works
Are
well
you
with
sure?
their logo. I hope
Exactly.
they actually pick that, but let's straight jump into our draft. For our first series of today, Cerberus versus SLG, we saw the ban earlier. Now they're gonna go for Senna first.
Senna, first ban, okay.
Oh, they want to rumble. They want to rumble in the bot lane. If CS can still pick Ziggs, right? But you know, they want action. They want the 2v2. I have this inkling that they know that they can take SLG on. So this might go for what, a Lucian Quirky lane or something that can fight 2v2 early.
Hey, your karma is not gonna be here.
No.
I'm sorry.
Let me just emphasize on one point, and I think this is very important. CES, if they get to 2-0 this, they have locked, or they will lock the first seed, which means that they get straight to the playoffs. So I'm thinking, as much as I want CES to be experimental, right, and having fun with all these champions, I think they know what's at stake here, and if they get a 2-0, they end up straight to the playoffs.
From my perspective, every time they add Inhuman in the roster, it means they're super serious right now, usually. But hey, they ban out Zig, they ban out Sat.
They want to fight.
Yeah.
Definitely. What do you think is going to be the first champ they're going to be picked off here?
Well, I want to see what the bands, because Jace, what Autolus mentioned, Jace is all,
Jace!
They can fight. They can go mid or top. And we talked about the problem with the 1-3-1, the 4-1 yesterday for Cerberus. If they pick Jace, maybe we get to see that.
Finally.
If they get to pick Jace, how do you think the team actually the other draft will
very
complement
flexible.
with it?
It's very flexible. You have an AD mid lane, which means that you can still draft an AP bot lane that could possibly a Seraphine as requested by this person.
What are you pointing at me?
Possibly just Lux, right? Lux, what else? Morgana. Morgana hasn't been picked up yet. But Jace's flexibility is not just on the mid lane, but also on the Baron lane. I saw multiple times on regional finals for every other region that Jace is a champion that you can use on as a bully. Now, one champion that can really go toe-to-toe in the mid lane against the Jace, that's the Lucian, and now we have a
Wukong. This is a Yasuo Wukong.
That's right.
For some reason, I am thinking if they're gonna pick up Gragas as well, might be overkill. But Gragas, Lucian lane can be aggressive. But I like the response coming from Cerberus, right? Because you outrange the Lucian with this Varus and as well as this Thresh. You just poke at him at the safe distance. So SLG can focus on heavy engage, or do they want sustain? Do they want the Nami lane? Or just go all in. We don't care about healing. We'll just go all in and not let them poke.
straight in your face, right? One thing that I'm worried about SLG, that one champion that I would love to see banned, that's the Thresh, right? It really would break your mental, at least in the bot lane, if he keeps on connecting on his hooks. And then I believe his accuracy is so on point.
It's absolutely scary, right? You said that his Fly's accuracy on this Thresh is so on point. That means layering of single target CC. You land the death sentence, you land the chain of corruptions, you land everything. So far, CS is assembling this single target heaven sort of a composition. SLG is doing the big opposite, right? They're doing for big team fight.
They're banning Seraphine here. I think this is the first Seraphine ban because he's going to be against SLG.
At least she already has a presence. I remember Riku saying that I don't care if Karma gets banned just as long as it gets into the game, right? Now Seraphine is already out of the picture. Lee Sin is also banned against Mess. What other junglers do we have for Mess? Does he play Kha'Zix?
He does.
Yes, he does. A lot, actually. And we still have, we don't have Olaf, so definitely Kha'Zix is going to be one in the lineup. But we're looking over for side of SLG. I'm kind of worried for them when it comes to early engagement. How are they going to fight against CS, which is going to be super aggressive here?
Oh, they definitely still have the opportunity, right, to lock in the support, because the support is still missing. Rakan is still open if they want to double down on the knockups, but they're like, we have too many all-ins. Let's go disengage so that we can scare them away if CES goes all-in on their single target.
This is, oh well, this is still a team fighting champion, right? When you pick up a Braum, you still have a Glacial Fisher.
Hey!
Hey!
It's your champion!
Yeah!
Singed!
Uh-huh. That's right.
But it's not Shyvana. You don't have to lay it.
No,
out, so it's
no,
okay.
that's okay. Originally, I was a Singed.
Yeah.
I was so excited whenever Singed gets picked, and that's because I also play it a lot. I mean, if you look at my profile, that's my most played champion in the battle line, right? Okay.
Add
Anyway,
him, guys.
I just would like to focus on SLG for a bit because they went back to an original combo in the LeBron, I would say, the Lucian and Braum, easy proc, but. Look at the answer here. It's not just the Singe. They also now have the Radar, the Thrill of the Hunt, off the Rengar.
Yeah, and I love this Rengar pickup as well, because it could have been interchangeable, Kha'Zix or Rengar. Either way, because this is an all-in composition from CES, without AoE disengage, they have the Lantern for disengage. So I can imagine them diving in, and then you Lantern out after getting a kill under a tower.
It's not just that. They can now also detect as to what the position is like for SLG, and that's actually a very good pick for this lineup. Now they have a Galio. Galio will be able to at least give them more resistances with the Hero's Entrance being available. Such a wombo combo lineup for SLG.
I know, right? The Invisible Monkey going in a 5v5 scenario, follow up with a Hero's Entrance, then boom, all the damage in the world coming from the Xin Zhao. I like the Xin Zhao pick as well because it's blocking out that projectiles with his ult over there on that Xin Zhao versus the Varus. So I like this, but on paper, that's just the one. It's not a double 80 carry comp. There's still a lot of melee, so I'm not sure how the ult can be value on SLG's side.
I'm surprised actually one thing that you mentioned about this engagement just now. Gragas is still open if I'm not mistaken. They actually didn't pick that one out.
That's surprising. You're right. But for me, this is a cinch in the mid lane, and against the Galio, it's okay. It's not, a losing matchup. They will just, continue to just wave clear with each other. And for me, it's going to be the team fight versus the poke/pick composition.
I like the Braum better because there's 4 melee champions on the side of CES, so it's easy passive, easy stuns.
So you're not going to say the Glacier Fisher is just to disengage and run this time?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you expect the rest of the team from CES to go on you. You use your ult, bam, value.
But the thing is, we have this on the paper. It's a theory that we have in our minds. But we saw that yesterday. Sometimes the thing in the paper kind of hard to execute. But hey, this is going to be the challenge for SLG. Can they actually reach up to the expectations of Riku, or will Cerberus reign again? Because right now we want to get into the game as soon as we can. And it's about to get heated in the Rift with our 2 squads. Now, let's show it to the casters.
And let's go! First cities of the game. We have Cerberus and FLG. Talagang salpo agad sa may middle lane dito. 3 versus 3 pero play. Pinasok agad at nabutan dito si Aurora, Shyvana. Pero parang ganun kasi yung pagkabasa ng pangalan niya. Pinipiling ko, nagkakalabitan lang to ng tenga, naghahawakan ng tenga. Pag malamig tenga mo, lugi ka.
Oo, isipin mo sa sobrang init ng bakbakan, hindi na tayo nagpakilala. Ay, na agad. Magsuntuan na kayo dyan. Oo, Old Kiwi. Itong si Aurora Unana. Medyo mainit-init din. Nga, no? Itong ating Braum. Uy, teka lang.
Parang ito, mainit na naman. Bottom lane. Pili ko, non-stop bakbakan to. Paring Osiris. Parang yung kanta natin kanina. Rumbling. Rumbling. Di ba may rumbling din sa may middle lane? Pero back to the bottom lane.
Play!
Hindi nga lang nag-connect yung piercing arrow.
Maulit tong dalawang teams natin, no? And syempre, alam mo naman tong dalawang lane na to. Alam mo naman ang Lucian Braum. Itong tandem na to, ang history.
Nag-flash in, sabay itinulak, men! First blood has been secured dito ng Cerberus. Ganon kabilis.
Ang lakas nito ni Kuya Miss dahil nga, no, nag-justice punch, hinarang niya. Uy! Teka lang.
Kalma lang. Gustong pumawi,
Relax lang. Pero yun nga, no, yung itong Dragon Lane din kasi, panahon pa ni GG Spear. Ano na yan, meta na yan, pang concussive blows after double attackings. So alam mo yun, tapos isipin mo meron pang 3 talon strike. So mas mapapabilis yung pag-proc ng concussive blows and pwede mo kang expect anytime na itong mga kumbuhan nila talagang pasok sa banga. Ang kaso, syempre kung nakuha na ni Mr.
Another flash in! This time coming from Fly, sabay Play, pero hindi niya na naabutan ng patayin dito itong si Vamos kasi Vamonos na siya papalayo, pero death sentence, magkoconnect pa rin dito kay Aurora, pero flash out to safety, buhay pa din. Pero meanwhile, sa kabilang banda ng ating mapa, namatay dito, ito si DDG. And mukhang si Utopian, mukhang mayayatarp na din dahil hindi na pinakawala ng Leon. Yung kinagat namin, rrrr, yun na yun.
Oo, naging Cerberus tayo dito. Itong si DDD, mukha na GGG. Kasi nga, medyo, yung mga rotations niya, binabasa dito ng Cerberus. At saka syempre, itong dalawang, sabi nga natin, yung bakbakan ng Lucian bro, kaya-kaya na mapagsabayan. Pero syempre, knowing na meron ka Thresh, yung iyong early game, yung iyong kill potential is fairly high pagdating ng level 3. And ayun yung minamaximize ng Cerberus. Immobile man si Kuya Lucian is definitely you have the lantern, you have the flame. May mga, may mga kit ka for feeling. Kaya pwede ka mag-feeling na kaya mong tulunin yung duo dito sa baba. Pero yun nga, itong si Fly, mukhang mag-fly high dahil aabot dito sa top lane.
Yeah, pero this time wala siyang flash, pero tatlo sila. Laban sa marami. Andito din naman yung kanyang Kagebunchi no Jutsu para kay God B. Pero nag-God B activated na nga with pa ikot-ikot parang Sarah G. He's still alive though, pero hinahabol niya dito si Mess and understand. Will be committed and magkoconnect dito kay Mess. Pero si God B, medyo duguan na. Kay feeling ko kailangan niyang distansya. Pero mid-lane muna natin, hindi nakaabot yung fissure dito ni Kuya Aurora. So try again next time. Pero meanwhile, going back on the top lane, flash out just to psych. Etong si Kuya. How do you read this? Kuya Bon.
Kuya Bon.
Yubon.
Yubon. Oo,
Bon na lang?
Oo, si Bon na lang, Kuya Bon.
Bon na lang. Oo,
Kuya
pero
Bon.
ito, naku po, another off-cam kill na naman yun.
Grabe yung
We
mid
have
lane
bumamonos, pabalik ng base.
Naku po. Oo, and kitang-kita mo kung paano nga naman na ginagawa ng Cerberus na totally i-shut down itong Lucian kasi bukod sa aggressive na bottom lane na kanya na-witness, kita mo yung gold nyo, nahihirapan siya, medyo struggling siya kay Kuya Genza kasi kanina nga, sunod-sunod yung balagbagan tapos nung nag-rotate pa si Kuya BMM, nakakuha na naman siya ng easy kill sa parting iyon at mukhang makikills na naman na makikita tayo dito.
Oo.
Backup.
Mukhang maaabutan pa. Kalahati pa lang yung buhay dito ng Rift Herald. And nandito na ang buong tropa ng side ng CES. And mukhang na-show away nila yung SLG. Sabi nila try again later. Pero feeling ko CES mukhang there's no later. And even the Rift Herald sa kamay pa ni Genza napunta.
Ayun na nga ang sinasabi natin no? Itong si Kuya Genza, tamang pana lang talaga. At 4 minutes into the game, gusto na kaagad nila buksan ang mid lane. Uy, ito na, yun na. Headbutt. Tamang prickly lang, pero easy lang. Dahil nga, kahit naman si Utopia, mandito siya para makapagdepensa, ngunit huli na ang lahat. So medyo high pacing. Ang nakikita natin sa Cerberus for the reason that they got the early advantage and you have a Rengar on your side. Pero itong si Kuya Godby, tamang chill pa rin dito sa Baron late. At hindi pa rin siya napapatay kahit tinatlo na siya kanina.
Oo, medyo maingat pa din dito si Kuya Gabi. Ang namamatay lang sa kanya is yung kanyang Kagebunchi no Jutsu dito. Which is good thing, kanya makasurvive ng isa. Pero ito, nag-play na end box. Pero yung fissure, tatama naman sa isa. Calling as well, medyo sumolid. At naiwan pa nga nasa fronta itong si Genza. Siya ang naging alay dito para sa side ng SLG. Low health din naman itong si Fly. Pero kahit pinap niya, yung mga forbidden prutas sa may gilid-gilid, hindi niya nakuha yan.
Iyo na nga ba yung sinasabi natin Masyadong mabilis ang pangyayari. Sinubukan sumabay ng SLG at nakuha naman nila ang isang kill na yon mula kay Genza. It means hindi pa. Meron tayong na nakikitang liwanag ng pag-asa mula sa SLG. Pero BMM, tamang lang din siya dito. Meron siyang realize. May mga pang slow na siya. Pero entirely in terms of AP damage, hindi pa ganun kataas. As long as wag ka lang masyadong humabol. Kaso ang problema is maganda na yung naging startup niya. Napaaga itong realize. Kumbaga, mas makaka-disrupt niya sa laban. At ayun na nga, makikita natin.
Na bottom lane. May natonta dalawa kasi medyo nag-overextend na naman itong si Fulay at saka ito si Kuya Genza. Pero grabe naman yung protobelt agad sabay 2.
Pinana.
Champion 8 coming from the side ng SLG. Pero ito, lipad muna papalayo. Ito si Utopia. Kaso low health ito si BMM. Habang hinahabol pa din ni Genza at ni Fly yung dalawa piercing arrow. Grabe naman yung sidestep ni Aurora. Sabi niya, alam ko na yan.
Alam ko
Sabi
na
niya,
yan.
hindi ako magpapa-pierce sa Kokoro.
Hindi mo na ako mahuhuli sa mga ganyang galawan. And ayun ako po, na-pierce nga ako. Koro dito ni Kuya Bamos ng Bagya. Pero kailangan na nga nila mag-back moves dahil delikado ang pwesto nila ngayon dito, and they are completely eyeing para dito sa Dragon Lane Tower na to. Ilang beses nang binabalikan ng Cerberus, and it feels like meron tayong scalpel kasi inuunti-unti nilang hiwain ang base ng SLG from mid to top. Ngayon, Dragon Lane na ang kanilang nabuksan. So, malupit na nga
Unti-unti nang
naging...
dinadissect, no? Ang tunay na doktor talaga ay ang Cerberus. Ayos ba yun para sa side ng mga Vietnams natin dito? We have SLG struggling sila like so much. Binibigyan sila ng no time at all and no space at all. Pero the P-Sure just to counter-initiate, pero na-fling away siya. Papatalikod si Aurora. Dito nakasave pa with the armor, pero not gonna be long dahil nandun yung bracket neto ni Bon.
Oo, no, kumbaga, naabutan siya ng shock blast. Kaya hindi niya nagawa na malagpasan. Hindi na kasi kailangan ng accelerator gate kasi nga, nung nawala yung Solaris Shield, bigla na lang no, tumama itong, kasi maliit lang walang accelerator gate So tamang lang, maliit lang din. And yun nga no, na maganda ang estado ng laro ng Cerberus ngayon. And we saw them play really good from yesterday, raining 2-0s, and this another 2-0, pero si Fly mukhang gusto ba pag-tuos dito against sa SLG.
Si Fly no?
Oo nga
Alam mo yung mga death sentence dito ni Fly, I don't think na nagmimintis, men. Feeling ko may magnet. Pero ito I think nalaramdaman ng SLG na may nagtatago dito sa may bandang damukha. Nagparamdam na din itong si Bon with that cannon. Pero pinasukan na. Hindi nakulong naman siya dito sa may dabak. Pero Heroes entrance nandiyan. Dahil wala silang nakaangat. Habang sa may likod, hindi natin masyado nakikita dahil naghahabulan sila doon. Pero low health pa na doon sa si Fly. At tuluyan na siya lumipad sa heaven. Pero nandito sa likod, itong si Mess making a mess from behind ng SLG dito. Pero wait, there's more dahil naiiwan pa na sandwich sila. Pinatouble kill para kay Kuya Bon. Kasi nahabol din si Godby, isang kalmot at kagat ng pusang walang turok. Mess will be cleaning up that mess na ginawa at sinimula ng SLG with an ace.
Hindi mo pwede tawagin Mr. Pure Energy kasi parang pagod na si Kuya Godby na talagang hirap na hirap siya doon yung setup ng kanilang Cyclone. At dito mo naman dito sa teamfight na to.
Energy gap.
Ang layo energy gap. Kumbaga, hinati yung laban. Although good prioritization pagdating kay Genza. Pero, rule number 1 is you don't chase the Singe. No, kumbaga, pinakadelikadong gagawin mo yan sa tanan ng buhay mo. At syempre, yun nga, na nagamit yung resources, all cooldowns has been burned, and that's the opening wherein itong si Kuya Mess, siguradong makakapasok siya. Nakakala mo, wala siyang kailangan problemahin.
And parang Osiris, habang nasa instant replay tayo, the Dragons and the Rift Herald has been taken ng side ng Cerberus dito. And I do believe there's no contest coming from the side ng SLG kasi kagagaling lang nila sa ace dito. And Cerberus talagang fully taking that chance na kuhain na yung makukuha nila dito, which is too big thing. Wala pa sila actually binibigay sa side ng SLG, pero Dakaling will be there, tingnan sa solid. Pero P-Sure mapapangat yung dalawa dito. Where is the backup? Where is the follow-up? Pero eto pa lang with the total wala naabutan, pero naabutan nila si Genza at napatay nila, but at the same time, dalawa agad yung lumuhod sa side ng SLG, make a 3 because PDT is gonna be dead na din. And meanwhile, tinatry pa din dito ng isa sa kanila, and that's gonna be Aurora, or rather Utopia. Naging yum. Dahil kinain dito ng side ng Cerberus, pero ito, Gakibunshi no Jutsu, just to dodge that adhesive coming from BMM. He's safe, kaso nga mag-isa na lang siya dito para kay Godby, and I think dalawang inhibitor yung pwede nilang katokin.
Oo, pwede nga nila. Actually, kung pwede nga nilang diretsuhin yun, ito yung pinaka-early na game sa buong history natin ngayon. Pero kita mo naman na busy si Kuya Mess at saka si Kuya BMM on pushing the side lanes. So technically, this is a 4 versus 5 or 3 versus 5 when it started. At yung setup ng SLG, medyo nag-excel sila sa mga team fightings. Kaso ang problema, nasi-single out sila dito na sa galaw ni Kuya Fly tsaka nila Kuya Genza. And once again, ang maganda naman sa ginagawa ng SLG, dire-diretso pa rin sila on denying Genza.
Yeah, pero ito, gigil sila. Men, partida si Fly pa lang yan, pero the respect na binibigay nila on Fly, Dakaling, pero I don't know kung baka napa-early pindot kasi nag-emote sila dito, pero ito na naman, vamos, mabalik sa base. mas mabilis nga naman mag-TP sa base, no? Kapag
Tama. Pero yun naman yun, kung nire-respeto nga nila, etong si Kuya Fly, nakalimutan nila respetuhin ang Rengar. Kasi nga, di ba, isipin mo, as a Lucian na behind, currently sitting on a 0-4, walang threat.
Yeah, pero ito, dito muna tayo sa may top lane. Kala mo 2v1, pero 1v1 na talaga yan.
Uy,
With
sakit.
God B, na nilulong range lang ni Bon. Binon siya sa top lane, man.
Namiro mo,
Meanwhile, at the
Devon.
middle lane, or rather dito sa may loob na ng jungle ng SLG. Kanina may mga SLG dun na. Suddenly, there's magic in
Nawala.
their gun.
Oo,
Nawala,
bigla
man.
na lang. Parang kanina lang, may kalaro to mga to. Bakit ngayon mag-isa na lang? Parang si DDD na lang.
Pero
teka
ito
lang,
grabe, hindi pa napapabagsak dito yung second turret at the top lane. Pero pinaglalaroan nila. Etong si Kuya
Naku
nyo,
po,
DDD. Pero
paalam.
ginawang death talaga. Paalam, kaibigan.
Naku, yun ang mahirap na sitwasyon nila dito. Sobrang behind sila at hindi nila masagot. 19-6 na may kasamang Rengar. Yan yung pinakayaw mo mangyari for the reason that they have the freedom to rotate. They have the freedom to start. And yun nga, na 508 at ngayon, meron pa siyang Divine Sunderer for a Rengar. Totoo, no, nakaka one-shot na siya. And kailangan na lang niya ng layer of protection for prolonged team fights dahil nga ang daming CC na sasaluhin. You have the Edge of Night for another added protection para dito sa mga stuns, sa taunts. And you have the Dead Man's Plate. So if we're talking about roaming, if we're talking about assassination, mahihirapan na mabuhay dito si Kuya Vamos.
Look at BMM, paring Osiris. Lalakaran niya lang yung mga nasa backline dito na side ng SLG. Even the Hero's Entrance with media. Napabagsak naman nila dito. Itong si Fly with that skills. Pero mukhang susunod-sunod na hintay at gigisahin sa mismong gitna dito yung SLG ng Cerberus. Another ace. What is Third Dragon? Kung pwede naman natin i-end na dito. Right here and right there. Nexus. Nilalakad na ng side ng Cerberus.
Naubos lahat ng member ng SLG, BMM na tila a walk to remember dahil nilakaran lang sila while walking at ito na nga ang ating game.
Oh my God.
Dahil Cerberus in one snap, tupok ang buong SLG.
Men, wala tayong Thanos dito sa Wadri pero biglang naging na-powderize yung side ng SLG. Hindi sila nakahinga para silang kinulong sa loob ng elevator na hindi gumagana.
Ako po, ayun na nga. At yung elevator na yun, nalaglag pa mula 12th floor hanggang 1st floor. Kaya it all come crashing down.
Yeah,
yun ang mahirap
it all
na
comes crashing down nga, paring
no?
Osiris. And I don't
Crash
think hindi
landing on
enough
you.
yung hindi enough yung naging power nila to stop that heavy aggression na binibigay dito ng Cerberus kasi men, ragasa. Ayokong humarang-harang-harang dito sa harap ng Cerberus kasi baka may rumbling.
Bata pasaway. Oo, rambling nga. So, kompleto tayo sa mga mga kagat ng aso at hindi na kailangan pa mag-slow down ng Cerberus as they already got the upper hand. They got the setup that they need. Yung kanilang Rengar is on a roll. So, wala na tayong problema sa kung paano nila gagalaw sa mapa. Even yung freedom na makuha yung mga tore, walang sagot itong SLG. So, I think they need to work on their power sa early game kasi doon sila dinaan eh. Even yung Dragon Lane, hinimay sila at dinurog talaga sila overall. Na kahit sabihin mong walang kills na nagaganap, but denying completely the farm of Vamos, mukhang hindi nga sapat para makapagdala itong Dora natin, no? Para makapaglaro sa ibang parte ng mapa and entirely na solo kill siya ni BMM. So I think that's one of the fastest game ngayon sa ating sa WCS Finals.
Yeah, I guess kailangan na natin i-throw sa panel to. So panels, take it away.
Logic Gaming feels right now with that first best of 2 series, and they're being smashed. Logically speaking, smash Logic Gaming for our panelists here. Okay, very positive. Mine is very different. But hey, Rika, what's the reason for the clap though?
I'm clapping for Cerberus. I mean, we voted 2-0. Wasn't exactly like the cleanest game, but you could tell like BMM was having fun, like running around as a cinch. So clap.
And for me, this could actually go 2 ways. Like, and then flip it over.
Wow!
No. So you actually have a thumbs
burn.
up. Yeah, a thumbs up for Cerberus because now they are 1 game away from locking the first seed. After today, or if they win this, they have a point total of 9 points already. And I believe the maximum point total for FENNEL University, who is at 2nd place right now, is 8 points. So
They can't catch up.
yeah, they can't catch up. So that means that after game number 2, if they end up winning, they will be going straight to the playoffs. And for SLG, I have to give a thumbs down. Again, expectations are not really that high for them. However, I kind of wanted them to at least bring more fire. And the draft itself, yeah, it's okay. I love the point of Omo. Wukong is actually a direct counter to Jace on one extent, just because it allows you to be face-to-face against the Jace. But he's still one of the most powerful champions that we have here. As long as you know that he's going to use his decoy, you could actually just have an infinite value when it comes to trading in the laning phase.
Yeah, speaking of trading, unfortunately, the bottom lane of SLG couldn't trade because they were basically outranged by the Varus versus the Lucian. And the composition of SLG required them to transition safely into the mid game because their composition is 5v5. And when they transition to mid game, the rest of CS already got solo kills or the skirmishes down.
I think the first blood was the Singe being able to fling over one person in the mid lane. I believe it was Utopium. And that's the welcoming party for Southeast Asia, right? This is the region in where we play those Baron laners in the mid lane and make it work. This Singe pick, as much as I would, love to say that, I'm a Singe player myself, I would love to give my hats off to BMM because he was felt from minute 1 up until minute 14.
And also, I think that's one of the fastest game we actually witnessed just now. It was less than 15 minutes and it's done. I think it's pretty much over the moment you saw sort of 4 minutes in and we saw a 4K goal difference already, Riku.
Yeah, Omo even mentioned, CES was garnering 1K a minute. They were literally not only farming minions, but unfortunately farming champions before the mid game came. And that's the reason why SLG had a very, very hard time.
I think what's the biggest problem coming out from SLG, honestly, starting from Odolus first?
Mechanics, firsthand, because then again, how are you able to transition into your macro if you are being out-microed by your opponent, right? From the get-go, we saw, him being extended, possibly in OSE, it's not going to be punished right away. But the aggressiveness of Southeast Asia, Cerberus, as a whole, minute number 2, fling over, first blood.
Oh man, I kind of worry about that. Is it because the, comfort champs being banned out? Why didn't expect that kind of draft happening out from Cerberus? You mentioned about the chase straight on. It was straight on point, that one. Didn't see that one coming, do they?
Honestly, I really love the bans because they banned out the Ziggs. They banned out basically champions that would slow down the 2v2, that would basically negate the 2v2. So it's basically like, let's remove our swords, our guns. Let's fight fist to fist. That's exactly what they did in the draft, and I love it. They picked Lucian, SLG. I'm gonna pick one of the strongest early game champions in the game at the moment, but the response of CES was so beautiful because I'll just outrange you in the 2v2. We're gonna be fine.
It's not just that. Remember, we talked about Fly a lot, right? Even before day 1 started, and we have identified his best champion being the Thresh. Remember what happened in the laning phase? They were forced under the tower, and there will always be the threat of the death sentence. And remember, his accuracy is just godly.
I have to agree. Every engaging support, it can be fly by fly. So it matters of how they actually can counter pick at first. We saw how SLG, their draft was not really, they tried to counter at first, but like I mentioned earlier, they have the idea, but can they execute it on their side? It's really kind of a far-fetched here, Riku.
I have a feeling the draft could have worked if maybe they picked the AD character, since they're playing around Vamos, right? The composition that they have is only Vamos is going to deal the significant amount of damage that they needed. So maybe if they waited a little bit, see if they can counter instead of picking the Lucian first, they'll have a little bit of that wiggle room to get that comfortable lane that they want for Vamos. There was an opportunity as well because I feel like that comp was also so perfect for something like a Vayne, something that scales in the later stages of the game, but they needed something to slow down the pace as well. So I don't know, maybe in the second game, pick Vamos as champion later into the draft.
Yeah, if they get to switch over to the blue side, at least you get that first pick, right? You could prioritize those champions that could really slow down Cerberus, because so far, the tempo of Cerberus, it feels to me that they own the Wild Rift map from minute 1 up until minute 14. Like 75% of the map is theirs from the get-go.
And we can see they're not really actually trying to all out there for Cerberus as well. It feels like very ease into it and really easy going, easy breezy for them for that win. But hey, maybe from that kind of, we talk about the time of their draft, they know they're centralized based on Vamos' performance. So I think it's a bit early when they take out on Lucian for that one. But maybe this time they learn a bit of that lesson and know how to ban and when to ban Jace, especially. And definitely, if you think that chances are, is there any way for SLG to kind of get around Cerberus here, Riku?
Okay, I think they're on the right path, like banning out the Camille. I think the Jace is also very important. Just ban out things that can easily solo kill you or unlock any 1-4-1, 1-4 or 1-3-1. I think that would be one of the best angles. Since they want to fight 5v5, force them into a 5v5 composition and do it better.
I would love to see them ban the Thresh, because that really was the problem for Vamos, right? If the laning phase isn't okay for Vamos, then your star player is now being boxed in and is now being caged in a box, and he's not going to be able to perform well to his standards. So bring out or take out that element, that threat from Fly, and go for something else.
Well, if they want to go for disengagement just now, there's also Lulu did ban out, if I'm not mistaken. There's also Gragas. There's so many options that they didn't try to, what if... We do know, coming out from Vietnam region, just so aggressive in the early game. They got, 2-3 ignites straight from off the bat because they want to just dive into the turret and get the first hero and just finish up as fast as they can. But right now, what SLG is just giving it so much for free.
Lulu, I think, would be a better pair when there's an Olaf, when there's a hyper-scaling champion like a Kai'Sa or a Vayne. And as well as the Gragas, maybe the Gragas was... I feel like that was a Yasuo comp. Seeing the Wukong, and if you pick up the Gragas, I felt like that was a perfect fit for the Yasuo. At least you have that... It's still
activator.
Big. You have that activator, you still have that big 5v5, and you also have scaling. So at that point, it's still, this is a team that still plays around Vamos. So I totally understand why it was the Galio in the mid lane. It's safe. It's a safe pick to flex. And you can just combo it with the Wukong once he dives in.
We gave them a lot of ideas here, definitely. Hopefully they can actually, for once, try to consider that for this sake. And Odolus, what are we looking here right now?
Yeah, what I love about game number 1 was the amount of respect Cerberus was willing to give to Smash Logic Gaming by banning the Seraphine second rotation. That means that they did their homework,
of respect,
right? And they're treating this game as if it's just the same game that will bring them over to glory. So Cerberus Esports' first ban right now will be the Senna.
Hey, SLG, they're respecting on the side of SES as well. The Jace is out here.
Oh, yes. I like it. I like it. Force them. We talked about force them into 5v5s once more. Graves. Okay. I see the logic in this, though, because they want to remove some of the carry junglers.
That has been banned away. So
Olaf's
this is
open.
Yeah, Olaf is open. Possibly even Gragas or a Galio priority from CES.
Don't pick Ziggs.
Ziggs, yeah. I was thinking
Ziggs.
about Ziggs as well.
Y'all want to fight. Don't pick Ziggs.
She's very cute, but she's so aggressive. She just wants fights all the way.
And that little sister that,
But hey, maybe they're gonna pick Olaf first.
Yeah,
so.
Olaf.
Fight! Yeah, that's definitely... Okay, so now CS can actually pick Seraphine as well, unless CLG picks it early to deny any sort of enabler for that Olaf.
Lulu
There's still
is
that
open,
Lulu.
though.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So this could potentially be a Lulu plus Olaf, depending on SLG's draft here. What I'm scared about, though, is if they... Ooh, this is an Irelia that I believe Godby really plays in the Baron lane so well. But the question, again, remains, if they're going to pick the Lulu here, they will be very vulnerable to the Thresh of Fly that is still open.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit worrisome. They're going all melee here,
wow.
and that's... You're going to be happy as an Olaf, right? Because everybody's going near you, and you're just going to be fine hack and slashing, basically.
Right.
All the 2 melee champions that you see so far. He's going to be CC free with a Ragnarok as well. So what will enable him? Seraphine, Lulu, we talked about this before, but who else will be able to get that on the board for the AD carry? Do you want to slow the game? Please don't pick Ziggs. I don't want to see a Ziggs
wow.
like, yes, Rakan, it's fight.
Yeah, because this is all about zone control for SLG, right? If you are on a choke point, Irelia's ultimate plus Riven's ultimate, it's infinite amount of damage. Now Cerberus Esports just wants to fight, as you said. You know, having that Olaf, having that Rakan, and having that Renekton, that just means that if ever we face on that choke point, that will be like a boxing ring, and you will be caged like an octagon.
Exactly. They're removing all their weapons. They're going for a fist fight here. Look at that Akali lock-in. So this is basically a mechanics-heavy game for CLG so far with their 3 picks. Quite similar to CES with the maybe the Renekton, Rakan, Olaf. Not really. You press Ragnarok and you just auto-attack.
I love this. I love this. What does this remind you? This is
Cinch ban.
Cinch ban.
Up to that
but
point.
yes, I just would like to emphasize
What
on this.
about
This looks like an RRQ draft. Remember,
Oh!
like, you have the Akali, you have the Riven, you have the Irelia that can actually be flexed around 3 possible lanes. You have the jungle, Baron, and the mid lane here. You're not really revealing that much. So with what's happening right now, CES figured that, hey, you know what's up? We have to ban another zone control and the Galio, and they did just that.
This is really lovely from CES because what CLG is lacking, they have the damage, they have everything except engage. They're gonna have a big problem if they don't have Rakan, they don't have Galio, they don't have Set. They're not there. They need a tanky engaged champion, and CES just removed everything from CLG.
How about the Scrank? Let's see.
Not
Really?
an AoE though, it's a single target, but I see it.
But he's fast. At least he's fast now, so yeah, okay.
You're down to enchanters. What, you're gonna pick Seraphine against a melee composition? This is gonna be scary.
I'm okay with the Lucian Nami.
Yeah,
at
there
least.
you go.
There you go. There's a Seraphine. As requested here, is this going to be a Sona Seraphine composition?
This could be because you have the damage. You just need to keep them alive. You have additional shielding. You have the necessary
Lulu.
kit to catch up with everybody diving in.
Is this a Rakan mid?
This could be Rakan mid.
Yeah.
And a Lulu support. Oh, they have a different idea. They have a cannon. Slicing Maelstrom, boom, boom, boom. You're a melee comp. We're just gonna encircle you, wrap around you with the stuns and everything and all the damage in the world. I love this from CES.
It's more like, you know, I talked about an octagon, right? And a cage match. Now, you know, bring electricity onto it, and basically you just cannot go out. And that's a Sona Seraphine composition. Now, it begs the question, do we go for Grievous items right away, or do we just go for a burst? For me, I love the burst over Grievous runes.
Oh yeah, I think it's highly possible. But at this point, they do have early game damage to supplement that with the Renekton and the Olaf. They have the engage. They have that inconsistent range damage. They have double engage actually with Rakan and Kennen. So this is the perfect formula against a melee composition that wants to stick with you as much as they can.
I'm okay with Kennen not engaging though, but rather disengaging or possibly counter-engaging. You wait for them to come in.
That's
and
true.
Then just pop your ultimate, and it will disrupt your tempo. Is this true? Are we going to see Vamos as an Akali in the Dragon? I don't think so. It could possibly be just a role swap between Utopian and Vamos, and Vamos will be, you know what? I'm going to carry you to the promised land, and I'll pick this Akali and play the mid lane.
Well, the thing is, everything, can they actually go against our logic if SLG actually won? Because we do know Cerberus is very strong at this rate with this kind of team comp, but let's not waste any more time. Let's just go straight into the rift with our casters.
Ayun na nga, Thunderclap, Lightning, first form na nga ba ito dahil si Kennen. We are back dito sa ating read. By the way, kami maging shoutcaster. Yung nga pala si Yasmin. Yung kasama ko dito sa parang Osiris. And second game, dire-diretso men, walang preno. Cerberus dito, kala ko, babanggayin at bubuntulin na agad yung Tori dito.
Kala ko, tatapusin na nila eh.
Lane, men. Rekta na, no? Nexus agad. Pero pinahabol sa may bottom lane, as of now. Masyado tayo nakafocus dito sa may middle lane.
Oo, kasi may
Pero I do believe, no,
away na naman
napagamit, men, si Sonapin, si Seraphine, ng flash out.
May bakbakan laban na naman kasi, kaya mainit itong spectator. No? Nasa mid, tutok dun sa mga 3v3. Pero ito, magkakaharangan na muna.
Yeah, Parakan. And hinahabol nila dito si Aurora. Pero Aurora, meron pa rin naman siyang flash. Though hindi niya naman gagamitin yan. And hindi nakakabot itong si Kuya Fly.
Uy, delikado yung ginagawa dito ni Kuya BMM. Oh, medyo malapit siya kay Kuya Vamos. And that 5-point strike, magiging mahirap na katapat. And although pares naman sila, may lifesteal spell, definitely kayang-kaya nila i-sustain yung lane. Parehas din silang melees. It will take a lot of time for them to start up yung mga ganitong klaseng fight. Ang problema naman dito sa ating Baron lane is you have Godby and Bon na kung saan pwede sila magbakbakan agad.
Yeah, pero speaking of bakbakan dito sa may middle lane, si BMM medyo delikado. Flash in ang ginawa dito ni DDD, pero medyo napadelikado. Talaga itong si BMM, pero DDD, mababawian din dito ni Mes, pero wait, there's more dahil dalawang kaltok. Parang hitting two birds with one axe ang ginawa dito ni Kuya Mes. Meanwhile, at the bottom lane, B-trap with trap, pero hindi naman, wala naman mamamatay at the bottom.
At ayun na nga ang nagiging sitwasyon natin dito. No, kung gaano nga kainit yung ating mid lane kanina na pag-usapan natin na medyo delikado si Kuya BMM against Vamos. And definitely, may oras sila to sustain, to save themselves. Kaso, the moment that DDD visited itong mid lane, nakuha na kaagad. Pero si Mes muna, binisita.
My old friend, dalawa agad yung napangat. And dalawa na naman yung babagsak. Paring Osiris, yung Cerberus nagsha-shopping sa side ng SLG. 2 minutes, 4 kills.
Shopping logic nga yung dating. Kasi nga medyo, ang dali nilang i-dive the juggle from the turret aggression. Nagagawa ng Cerberus na walang problema. Kaya, one after another, after ni Kuya DDD bumisita dito sa mid lane, wala nang magandang follow-up na basa yun ni Kuya Mes.
Yeah, pero another stun ang nag-connect dito kay Vamos. Pero come on, Vamos! Pero this time, nandito si Fly! Hindi niya nag-run entrance dahil nag-out na din itong si Kuya Vamos. Nagdelegado ang HP din ni Vamos. Same with BMM, pero they're both safe.
Ayun na nga, at nakita natin kung gaano katindi itong dalawang teams natin na palitan ang girl top.
Slicing Maelstrom! Binagsakan ng mga kidlat, dinaig pa si Electra, man. Pero wait, there's more kasi si DDD, medyo natatakam kay BMM, pero napangat siya with the grand entrance. Vamos, hindi pa pala siya umuwi kanina, pero kailangan niya na mag-Vamos ngayon. Pauwi dahil si Mes. Mukhang creating a mess na naman. Naupo. I feel like somebody's watching me, pero nakita siya. Napalikot pag lumingin ka, akin ka. Kaso, sayang yung tago-taguan. Hindi nakatago na maayos si Mes.
Ayun na, inisip natin kanina na magtatago siya na maayos kaso lumabas siya sa brush at nagkatitigan sila.
Alam nyo, masama yun, mga Earp. Huwag kayong maninilip. Nasa loob ng jungle eh.
Tinitigan, ito pa,
Ito
nagkasalubong.
pa, pinagod para hindi makaabol agad din
by Dominus.
pero the quickness, mukhang tatamaan dito, itong si Serapi, pero speaking of charm, napakanta si Kuya ni Utopia, pero nawala si Aurora, napunta na sa may sky dito, pero naiwan si Kuya Mes, and he left the Mes, pero wait, there's more nga ba, kasi hahabol pa ba yung tatlo, hindi na sila lumalabas dito ng under the turret na side ng SLG.
At ayun nga, ang ginawa ng Cerberus muli. Ang maganda naman sa ginawa ng SLG is nakakuha sila ng return kill. Kumbaga, after nilang matimbrehan na si Kuya BMM, naglibot nga dito sa mapa. Dumating naman ang ibang miyembro kaso nahuli na kasi si Aurora doon sa bakbakan ngayon. At si Kuya Bon repeatedly making sure lang na gulpihin si Kuya Godby para hindi makapag-farm itong area.
Flawless duet na tumama. Flash out ang ginawa dito ni Kuya Bon sabay. Uy! Nakatapang pa dito sa mga prutas pero isang hit na naman ng tower. Napawian niya din si Kuya Godby.
Yun na ang palitan na kailangan nila. And mas nakakapalag ang SLG ngayon. Ngunit papalag na naman muli ang Cerberus.
Yeah, pero hindi na nagpang-abot. Nagkagamitan sila dito ng paangatan ng bastan pero hindi na enough para magkamatayan pa. Perfect ang patayan sa may bottom lane! Dominus! Nagpatakam! Tinakam ka lang! Nagpatakam ka naman! Pero middle lane, ako po, from top to bottom to mid with the beat trap, with the trap dito sa may middle lane na naman. Si Vamonos, bumamonos sa tower, men! Bumamonos sa tower!
Napasobra! Napasobra nga talaga,
Natulas.
no?
Pero wait, there's
meron pa.
Meron pa. Oo nga, hinahabol nila dito sa Aurora pero wala na silang vision doon. Pero Dragon na lang daw, sabi ng sis.
Nakapag-Dragon na sila, yun nga, yung sa beat sabay ang Cerberus, kaya nag-gets nila si Genza na ang siyang tumapos doon sa laban na yun. At nagulat nga sila na hindi nila na-expect na meron ng itong Wits End kaagad si Genza. Hindi niya kailangan mag-prioritize dito na ng Blade of the Ruin King. Nagdiretso Wits End siya with how sabihin na natin, mostly AP yung nasa lineup ngayon ng SLG, and at the same time, yung assassins nito nga, no, si Vamos sa Akali, mas delikado pagka gumamit pa siya ng ibang item. So ito medyo somehow defensive, pero you're paying the price of the attack speed. So meron kang fine line ng share ng best of both worlds. Teka lang, grabe si Fly, ang hilig niyong makaway no?
Oo, talagang lipat.
Alam mo bakit?
Bakit?
Kasi ano siya, Fly nga, di ba? Palaaway.
Palaaway siya. Fulay.
Oo,
Parang
palaaway,
short,
Fulay.
no? Akala ko mahilig din siyang lumipad kasi Fulay. Di ba? Tapos ang gamit niya pasirakan na parang manok.
Lumilipad na naman ang isip ko.
Grand entrance itong si Aurora. And Aurora will be saying goodbye.
Naku, yun na nga yung sinasabi natin dyan Yung magiging immobile ito ni Son at saka ni Sera, kahit sabi mo meron silang papabilis, mapapang-sera-sera sila. Pagka nahuli sila dito, nila Kuya GMM at iba pa, may condemn.
Naiiwan nila dito ito si Kuya Gadby, pero si Kuya Gadby nakapag-Vanguard's Edge, pero for what? For nothing. And transition agad sa push dito ng turret dito, yung side ng CES, may kasama pang Reef, Sera sa may bandang likod. Si Utopian naman ang mukhang magiging yum at kinain dito ni Kuya Genza, pero wait, there's more. Kahit itong si Kuya Vamos, again, another Vamonos, pabalik ng base.
Ayun, napauwi ka agad na yung adventure mo. Paglabas mo pa lang ng bahay, pinauwi ka na. Sa sobrang hirap ng kanilang situation. At ito na naman tayo muli sa tempo na ginagawa ng Cerberus. No? Alam mo bakit mabilis sila maglaro itong CES na to?
Bakit?
Kasi pag binaliktad mo yung SEC, seconds lang. Lagi sila nagmamadali. Oo. All those seconds, gano'n. Medyo hindi na nila gusto ng minuto. Kailangan segundo, ora-ora mismo. Kailangan yung galaw nila talagang mas mabilis pa sa alas 4. Ganun, kabilis ang laro ng Cerberus. And kita naman din sa kung paano mag-engage itong si Kuya Fly. Si Kuya Palaaway, nandito na muli.
Naku po, may iwan na naman dito si Vamos na slicing dito ni Kuya nyo. Pero nakapag-ulti na dito si Serapin. Enough naman yon para mabarag itong Kuya Mes dahil siya yung naiwan sa may gitna.
Ay, grabe yung ginawa nila doon. Nahuli siya ng encore.
Pero si Genza nasa harapan, pero nandito yun sa quickness, tatlong na in-down. Pero yun na nga, preheating from behind. Kanya-kanyang target, pero isa-isang pinupulutan ng side ng SES. Ang SLG, ubos sila SES. Tatlo ang lumuhod at inahabol pa nila dito si Vamos. Vamos, itakbo mo hanggat may lupa pero hindi magkoconnect dito yung grand entrance. Napunta naman siya na normal attack pero Vamos is still alive. Pero hindi na din siya hahabulin nga ba? Nandito si Mes! Saan ka pupunta? Tariman namin to. Tago-taguan, maliwanag ang buwan. Pero pag lumabas ka, akin ka. Eto na yung axe. Sino bang mas mabilis? Yung kunay mo o yung axe ko? Pero si Vamos, men, nag-around the world tour yarn.
Iba naman pala ang trip ni Vamos. Sabi mo kasi Madam Yaso, igala niya, kaya nga Vamos, di ba? Tara, ayan nga. Napagala nga ng tuluyan, daig pa ang world tour sa ginawa niya. From top to bottom, talagang naparoam ng tuluyan. Ngunit, syempre, saan pa nga ba ang kanyang katapusan? Wala, kay miss pa rin. At yun nga, hindi siya nagmi-miss out sa mga ganong klaseng opportunities. At kita na rin natin sa team fight na yun, na kung saan si Genza is meron ng Ruin King. No? So yung kanyang prior target kanina, na-proc lang din kaagad yung Ruin King and the Wits and entirely to choose. Ano na siya, janitorial duties na siya pagdating na doon. Tamang clean up na lang. Pero this time, you have the SS dito ni Utopia at saka ni Aurora na naka-ready para sa big team fight.
Yeah, speaking of big team, fight na hindi na naka-SS, hindi na naka-anchor dito si Utopia, pero wait, there's more kasi si Genza, pumupunta na naman sa fronta, pero sa likod may nag-flank na isa, BMM taking 1 and triple kill para kay Kuya Genza. Genza bro, inubos at ace dito ang Cerberus.
Grabe ang ginawa nilang team fighting. Akala natin yung Edge nandoon na sa SLG. Yes, nandun nga. Andun yung Vanguard's Edge. Pero sila din yung napunta sa Edge ng bakbakan dahil kung gaano kasi net-upan ng Cerberus yung mga openings na yun. Nakita mo naman may Vanguard's Edge still, the Ocean Drake participating. Pero yung clean up ni Genza is napakabilis. And yung kita mo yung tenacity, I think that was tenacity. Kasi
Oo.
ilang seconds lang yung crescendo niya at BMM. Once again,
gising agad eh.
nangharang siya dito at ginamit na niya yung Dominus kaya short na may minus kaagad sa miyembro ng SLG. Pero ito naman, si Fly. Grabing gala rin naman ni Kuya. No, kung galang-gala si Vamos, easy fly high butterfly.
Fly high butterfly, hindi man siya para G, pero ito si DDD. Mukhang si Fly ang target dito. Sige, ibira mo kaso nga buhay na buhay. Si Fly! Kasabi niya,
Oo.
okay lang to. Ano lang to, gas-gas lang to. Sabi ni
Oo,
Fly,
tinatayuan
naglahat
ni
lang
Kuya
siya.
Miss, oh.
Effortless, man. Pero ito
Uy, sa likod, oh.
Pero sa
May
likod,
na-slice.
may Anchor at may na-milestorm dito sa may bandang likod. Kinurinti. Si Vamos at si
Naku
Knopian,
po.
pero dito din sa may bandang referral natin, nagkaagawan. Pero ang inagaw na tunay ay ang buhay dito ng SLG. Pero si Aurora, naku po, anong gagawin mo? Hinahabal ka ni Kennen dito. And pwede siyang mabato ng Shuriken. Pero si Aurora mukhang normally. And bagsakin, that's an ace for the side of CES plus turrets.
At yun nga, dire-diretso na muli ang Cerberus. Para makita na nila na ito na, posibilidad na katapusan. Pero syempre nirespeto pa rin at bakbakan na naman.
Yeah, bakbakan na naman. Si Vamos bumabamonos dito sa may middle lane. Kaso pares makunat. And next one, si Vamos ulit pumasok. Si Vamos na tinagka sa mukha. Neto ni Mes, sabay DDD, make them dead. Pero napabagsak din nila dito. Etong sila Kuya Utopia na kinagat ng crocodile. Sabi ni Mes, sabi ni BMM dito.
Grabe nga yung ano doon no, ni Kuya Mes. Kumbaga nakita natin, kinasa niya yung, kahit sabihin mo madaming miyembro ng SLG naka-ready, Miss Shea, may SS, meron siyang Ragnarok at dive kung dive.
Sabi, Osiris, huwag ka na magpakaliwanag dito.
Huwag ka na,
Papatay ko to si Aurora. Watch me. Kasi hindi niya napatay.
Watch me whip.
Watch me whip
kulang
talaga, literal. May kasamang Dominus yun. Sabi niya, ayaw mo papatay.
Ito ba?
Sige, Torre na lang.
Ngayon, ikaw ang tatakbo.
Inahabol dito.
Gusto mo
Hindi
kanina
na flash in. Pero yan, na-punish tuloy dito si Kuya BMM dahil overextending, overstaying your welcome. Pero ito, may nagchichismisan sa damuhan. Wait lang daw kasi apat yung nakikita nila. Ito na yung the quickness, the granite, tries on to win the milestone. Natunaw, may SLG to kanina pero where they at, bro? Medyo low health dito with the stasis. Itong si Kuya nyo, si Bon. Kaso nga lang, patay din siya. Pero meron pang dalawa with the grand entrance na nagtutay na
Genza!
dito sa side ng SLG. Pero si Genza, God B ang kanilang tinatarget dito. Pero si God B, buong energy gap, men. Nawala na din siya ng gana doon. Lagi siyang namatay.
Grabe, oo, maganda nga yun, naging pwestuhan nila dito. And feeling ko ang ganda ng combo ni Fly tsaka ni Genza kasi nga, di ba, kumbaga, yung tandem merino nila, parehas silang aggressive. Yung alam nila yung setup ng bawat isa na kung pagka nag-go si Fly, na baback up ka agad doon yung kanyang AD carry. Kaya suavity talaga na in case na gustong maipagbalagbagan ng Cerberus, buong miyembro nila is ready to fully commit. And yun nga yung commitment na dadalhin natin dito sa Baron. And this will push even further yung lakas ng Cerberus. At siyempre, open na yung mga inhibitor turret, and this is the opening that they need. We have also the Hull Breaker sa kamay ni Kuya BMM. Pwede niya solohin dito yung isang lane. And at the same time, ginamit na rin yung kanyang rocket belt. Mukhang ninanais habulin si Vamos. Pero syempre, kailangan mo na mag-defend ng SLG. Kailangan nilang hatiin ang kanilang katawan. Pero mukhang may mahati kaya pagka kinasan dito ni DDD ang kanyang bandai at ang kanyang Zanpacto. Pero bakbakan muli.
Isa lang to si BMM sa may top lane at pinasok na nga siya dito ni Kuya nyo. Vamos, 1v1 with the Great One. Kaso napakakulan dito ni BMM. Pero sa may bandang likod with the Grand Entrance, rising milestone!
Napakasakit!
Pasok lahat! Men, ubos! Pati pantubos, SLG na GG!
At ayun na nga, SLGG, no, napasiklib kasi napa-GG talaga sila ng tuluyan doon sa last fight, and that's something that you need to respect. Napag-usapan din ng ating panelist na gustong-gusto ng SLG yung mga ganitong klaseng setup. So, Nasera, you have the team fighting, and then yung mili na pumasok na puro papasok ang lineup nila dito. Paano nila isusustain kung ikaw mismo papasok ka sa slicing maelstrom? Madaming combinations na or madaming layers of CC sa side ng CES na kailangan nila i-consider, habang yung CC na meron dito ang SLG ang pagsisisi lang sa kanilang draft. Kasi isipin mo, kahit gaano kadami yung pwede mong ilagay, kung merong Olaf, talagang
Oo.
palong-palo kayo dyan. Mapapalo kayo na matindi. At yun nga, yung na-experience nila na kung saan si Kuya Miss, rumagasalang ng tuluyan.
Talagang ayaw mong humarang-harang dito sa side ng CES, paring Osiris, dahil hindi ka nila bibigyan ng space para makapag-farm. Kung makikita natin yung draft dito ng side ng SLG, parang laban kapag nakapag-farm sila. Of course, the items, meron sila ditong high damage na pwedeng ibigay output against CES. Pero paano sila makakapag-farm? Hindi sila pinagpapahinga ni Fly, hindi sila pinagpapahinga dito ni BMM, and all of the lanes winning in favor ng CES. How to stop CES?
Wala talagang wala hindi mo na mapipigilan itong CES dahil kahapon
Speedrun
pa
to.
sila larong-laro. Kasi nga, SEC nga seconds lang. Seconds to Mars. Ganun lang kabilis, no? Ganun lang, kumbaga, once na makuha na natin yung momentum, that's it. Wala nang opening. Kumbaga, ganito kaseryoso yung mga teams natin dito in SLG, no? Kailangan nilang ayusin yan dahil nga, kung gusto nila makasurvive sa play-ins, kung nakita natin kahapon, yung mga close games, nakuha na nila yung experience nila against our big threat team.
Well, yes, of course. Pero ito, here comes our panel. Take it away.
Congratulations to Cerberus Esports, definitely advancing to the next stage. Seems like it dominating as well. And this is just the first series, but we've got 2 more to go for our day number 2 of the plays in WCS Finals here. But hey, before the next one, let's talk just really what happened, what went down just now. It was, like 40 kills in less than 15 minutes, Ricky. Is it really the draft? They're just farming all the kills.
Yeah, it was a bloodbath, right? Like, the draft was just enabling all the 5v5s, all the skirmishes. And on paper, when I looked at it, ease of execution. CS comp, all they have to do is press R, right? You press R on Nectin, you become bigger. You press R on Olaf, you run faster. You press R on Vayne, you go time of reckoning.
Right.
And you just press R on everything, Kennen as well. It's just basically much easier on paper. And on the other side, SLG, they had to zip, zap, zoom, zip, zap on Riven, Irelia, and Akali as well. It's much harder, so that's all I'm gonna say. Bloodbath and ease of execution.
I mean, there are 2 champions in there that you basically press 4 to score, right? I mean, you have the Sona and the Seraphine. That doesn't really need that much mechanics, but I'm still in awe. That's 40 kills in 14 minutes. I believe that could be, a record.
It's a party.
It could be a record in Wonder of Competitive. It's a very young competitive scene, and that's a lot of kills that was given over. And I think a part of that is because it's a Sona and Seraphine. They are 2 of the most squishy champions that we have, and we have identified that they are a very slow duo bot that if they skill into the late game, they can perform, right? But against CES and against how aggressive they have proven multiple times, right? From day 1, day 2, they are the best team in the play-ins.
But hey, just to make sure you guys understand what we're talking about, this is what happened in game number 1 before. They kind of outdraft as well. The draft is there, but it's just the execution is not when it comes to the game 1 review.
Yeah, it was basically CES's playstyle. Like, they really wanted to fight. And on the side of SLG, they also wanted to do the same thing because they want to have this potential of outplaying. That's why, especially on game number 1, they relied heavily on Vamos. They moved on to game number 2.
Exactly.
Okay, let's make everyone have the capability of outplaying CES. But the compositions are relying heavily on transitioning to mid-game where they're grouped as 5. And before that, when the laning phase basically exploded before anything can happen. So that's, I think, the big summary of this entire series.
I love the draft change for SLG. If you're going to ask me, again, I talked about their mechanics prowess, right? They still have the talent, and what better way to do it or to show it than having these high mechanical champions in the Akali, in the Irelia, in the Riven. I believe it was a better choice for them overall on game number 2. But then again, Cerberus Esports is not the one to get surprised by this picks because they themselves, they pick it, right? So it's not something that they will, they will crumble upon, unlike possibly FLA, that if FLA, faces this SLG's version of being a wild card, they could end up losing. On game number 2 though, on game number 2, I just would like to emphasize on one thing. We talked about this. I don't like the Vayne. I want
You don't
the
like the
Caitlyn.
Vayne?
I don't like the Vayne. I wanted the Caitlyn. Simple
Ah.
nitpick. Yeah.
Yeah, because you mentioned this Autolus, like it outranges basically everybody else on the other side.
It
and
just looks perfect on their draft.
That's
the Caitlyn.
true. That's true. That's true. And it also supplements the early to mid game damage. But I want to answer what our Grandin and Omo were asking. Like, why do they have to face the final boss in their debut at the WCS? You know why? Because that's how you get isekai. You have to get slaughtered first, and then you have that redemption story. And that's how you wake up into another world. Like, who am I? Oh, I'm the hero in this new world.
Just to get reborn.
Yeah, exactly. to get reborn.
The only problem I have with that is
The
that
isekai?
Yeah, is that normally you start level 1. Right? After you get reborn, you don't start like an OP character right away.
Yeah.
You still have to have that time skip for a character progression.
True.
And I don't think they have that luxury, at least for this tournament, because today they will have another game against FENNEL Adversity, no less.
Ooh. So what level they are at right now for SLG?
Ask Riku.
Why me? Okay. I think I'm not gonna say what the max level is, but I'm gonna say they're a level 15.
Level
Without a max level.
I'm not saying the max level. Let's keep that as a mystery, okay, guys?
It's like, you have a max level of 1,000.
That if it's 1,000, if it's a million, it's a different story now. But hey, leave the levels for a bit, and hopefully SLG can actually recuperate and just reassess what they need to do next if they still have more games to go. But we're gonna take a break for a bit and see you guys in another series right after this.
Looking for a place to hide. It seems we're crossing a line. My love for you is making me blind, but I want you, oh I want you. I think we're out of control. It feels like I'm losing ground. I know we had it all. Now I'm chasing, oh I'm chasing. No, I ain't going too far. I will love you wherever you are, even if we're miles apart. You are the light in my dark. Think we're out of control. It feels like I'm losing ground. I know we had it all. Now I'm chasing, oh I'm chasing. We both know that our path is ended. It's time to say goodbye. Even if you're far away, we should give it another try. No, I ain't going too far. I will love you wherever you are, even if we're miles apart. You are the light in my dark.
Welcome back, Wildlings. You guys are tuning in to the second day of WCS Finals play-in stage. I'll be your host today. It's going to be Choo Choo, and join me on the stage here on the panelists. It's going to be, again, Riku and Odaluz. It's going to be a feisty one this time. Loving it.
Yeah,
so much love.
Opaluz.
Is that supposed to be Odaluz? Really?
Well, I'm just trying to play around myself because, guys, this is a time that we become serious, right? This is a make or break game. If we look at the math and the point standing that they have, right? EVOS versus One. I know that they already have history going back to the Summer Super Cup that we entitled as the Battle for Glory, but now it's a battle for survival. Whoever would be able to get a 2-0 against the other, it would mean a lot for their chances.
It's very nostalgic if you compare to these two teams. Back then, they were high up there, but right now, barely making it in. So it's so different of situation, and they are in such ordeal right now. And we do know first place straight into the group, into the playoff, definitely be taken by Cerberus. But all they are fighting for is going to be second and third place. Do you think EVOS can actually make it, Riku?
I'm an EVOS fangirl. Early in predictions, I said it's going to be a 2-0. Versus One Team this time around. Even back in the Summer Super Cup, I voted, yeah, I know EVOS is definitely going to win this Grand Finals. But yes, the stakes are much, much higher at this point because it's a battle of survival, just as Odaluz has mentioned. So not a lot of time of adjusting for both of these teams.
I think this matchup is really crucial for both teams since they're both having almost the similar points. But also, when it comes to One, we do know One Team, they are very safe, very stable draft, but they need the scaling a bit more time here, Odaluz.
Yeah, and I believe EVOS is willing to give them that. Although one thing to note, EVOS is very good on rotations. I believe there was at one point that they were able to catch FLA off guard when it comes to, rotations, right? There was at one point Arise was going up and he was met by two people, and that's the decisiveness of EVOS with G4 in the mid lane, and I do hope that they will stick with G4 in the mid lane. But for One Team though, one thing that I know for sure is that Cianyo will just have a field day in the jungle, and we get to relieve the rivalry between two of the best junglers that we have in Southeast Asia, and Cianyo versus Valdez.
So you're talking about ace player. There's going to be jungler for both team, and also you mentioned about G4 Riku before. Is it based on centralized on G4, or is it going to be based on the side of jungler like Valdez?
I think it's a very flexible thing that EVOS can do, right? Because I talked about prior in the panel earlier, right? That there's a duality in G4's playstyle. He can play utility to set up for Valdez, or he can play assassins that can set up for himself. That's why he played Fizz twice yesterday, and it worked once. It didn't work out so well, but I think it's because of the weakness of EVOS not being able to finish games.
Yep.
Right away. And that is where One Team thrives, right? They love the 25-minute win condition for them. If the game goes slow, then that's their time to shine.
And that, I believe, is one of the win conditions for One Team. Because if the game goes the distance, they have Yumao, a beast in the Dragon lane that can really carry team fights over and over again against Cat Satan. I'm liking my chances. I'm liking my One Team.
You're liking it. You're liking it.
I feel like this is a very interesting matchup because why? It feels like the way you mentioned, Riku, that EVOS having a hard time to close up the game seems like a bit more advantage towards the side of One Team.
But they're really strong early mid. If they win early mid and the game, they win. I mean, it sounds simple. It's hard to execute. But that's the thing, right? What if we look into the draft? What if EVOS removes everything that slows down the game? What if you force One Team in a position that they're not comfy with, which we already saw with, the Darius Garen into the locks? It didn't work out so well. It felt like they were deviating and they didn't get to adjust too well.
Again, for me, for One Team, in order for them to get to the next stage, they have to remember their identity in where they will win the late game, right? So, how do you do that? You draft a marksman, or you draft a very scaling composition, like a Senna, like a Nasus, possibly. The thing about yesterday, they went on fire, or they went on stage with dedication of having a marksman on the lineup. Yumao 11-1 and 6 on the Lucian. On the second game, that was a Lulu and Vayne composition that was punished by a Lucian. But on their second series, I feel like they tend to be more safe this time because this is Cerberus that we are talking about. Against EVOS, though, I feel that they will still play their style.
Oh wow, there's so many insights here because it downs to all the judgment call and also shot calling coming out from each team. How do you want to play it down? But hey, let's just look into our matchup between both EVOS Thailand and also One Team Esports. Now, you mentioned it's down to the composition of the team and the draft itself. So definitely, you said they will take out all the champions that might drag out the game early on for EVOS, maybe.
Ban Ziggs! Do it! Just do a 2v2 fight. If one team drafts Lucian, then pick a Varus. Pick something that can... Exactly that. I'm so happy they're going to keep fighting this. So nice.
All right, well, Varus has been banned, which means that Cat Satan is now forced onto one champion. That's Kaisa.
Okay, but it still could go either way, right? It could still it still can go to the classic Corki Lucian matchup where, okay, we can't go the Kaisa Vayne route. Let's just go Corki Lucian instead.
We'll see. But for now, this is good respect by EVOS, at least banning Karma. I believe they're not, comfortable in picking a Karma for themselves. And looks like we have G4 in the mid lane. No fear, no Linya, at least for the moment.
Yeah, there's none. These bans, this is basically screaming, I'm gonna play Lucian, but this is for EVOS and both for One Team. Let's see who gets to, what do they prioritize first? Because Camille is open.
Yeah, Camille is open, Set is open, and I'm okay with the Set being...
Set's banned at least, yeah.
Yeah, actually, Set has been banned. But Camille is open, Gragas is open, and we will see what will be the priority here for EVOS. I'm liking their Galio as well.
Oh yeah, the Galio can definitely enable
Cat Satan still has a Senna. I forgot about that.
No, don't play Senna. Don't play Senna.
Yeah, this is a Galio. So
go Corki
this could be a Senna Galio composition. Now, what will be the response here by One Team? Remember how they got dismantled by Cerberus was, okay, we're going to scale into the late game anyway. We're going to beat you with an infinite scaling composition.
I think this is the second time we're looking over Camille actually being in the game rather than being banned out. And the first one we saw before, they definitely won it. So is this going to be One Team's games, possibly?
No, why pick Senna? Yeah, it could still be possible, right? Like, you can still pick a Lucian in the mid lane, put Senna at the bot, so you have that, well, like, that scaling at least at the bottom portion of the map, and as well as utility. I like One Team grabbing the Camille. I mean, that's definitely a no-brainer, but it also removes the Galio into the Camille combo. But now what would be the delivery system? This spells... I have this big feeling GeForce is going to be playing the Galio. It's a big throwback to game number 5 back then at the Summer Super Cup between these two teams. And GeForce was amazing in that champion.
All right, well, Lucian will be picked up here by EVOS, which means that Cat Satan will still have a marksman to go with. Now, the question is, what will be the pairing for Senna? Will it be a Nasus? Will it be a Singed? We saw the impact of Singed earlier today with BMM running the show. But on the Dragon lane, it's not as safe.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? If Senna picks up a Rakan, that means they can fight. If they pick up a Nasus or a Singe, that means they're throwing in the gauntlet, we'll fight you later.
But interesting thing is they're not revealing that just yet as they pick off Kazakhs. But we're talking about EVOS, the composition seems a bit stronger for now, but we haven't got a clue about how the entirety of One Team Esports, since they're taking their own sweet time to ban out Lee Sin, and it's going to be Ari next.
Yeah, well, the beauty about Camille is it can now be flexed onto the mid lane, right? If you want CU to be the playmaker, that will always be an option. Now, the question is, will it really be a Galio in the mid lane or a Gragas support, and a Gragas support, or a Galio support and a Gragas mid lane? Because to me, I believe it will be safer for them to have a Galio Lucian in the bot lane.
Yeah, there's still a lot of mystery for sure on the side of EVOS.
Nasus.
And it's going to be Senna Nasus. That means they're throwing the gauntlet. Like, we don't want to fight you. We know you're stronger early. Even though you're either or, right? Could be a Senna Gragas, still could be a Senna Galio. Either way, I'm still going to lose. We're going to stabilize the lane instead and not give you kills.
A lot of flex pick coming up from both teams, but hey, finally!
G4 back.
G4 Zed! Zed.
And I believe G4 is one of those players that really prioritizes Black Cleaver first for this champion. Now, Black Cleaver on a Zed gives you not just ability haste, but also gives you survivability, right? A few HP in order for you to survive. Some engages that could, or some damage that could be brought upon by the Kazakh spirit. But we're looking at, we're looking.
Possibly.
Wow. Okay.
It is a Gragas.
I believe they have picked that before. Gragas in the jungle. The question is, will it be a full AP Gragas or will it be a tank Gragas?
I mean, there are a lot of tanks already available. Well, sorta. There is the Galio. There is that Darius. Now, to finish this composition,
Kai'Sa.
it is back again. The Senna and
Kai'Sa
the Kai'Sa. We saw it being swapped in the mid lane here and there.
But it was still Yuma that played it.
Exactly. So this is not my seat. so I'm really liking this because that means, okay, we see the composition. I can probably pick Kai'Sa. I'm confident with the entirety of this full 5 that I see from EVOS.
Yeah, and they still have a decent wave clear with the Spirit Fire from Nasus. It's not as effective as the Ziggs, but it still is an AoE wave clear mechanic. Now, on the other side, EVOS, what is going to be their engage? Is it going to be the Gragas?
I think it's going to be the Darius, honestly. That's what I picked last week as a Darius.
Apprehend, body slam, and that's what you need, that delivery system, right? So there is still that Galio for that taunt. So there's a lot of CC, layering of CC to be had. But I love the Nasus pick because you do have that innate armor shred. Yeah, exactly, from the Nasus. And there's a ton of armor to be had on the other side as well.
Honestly speaking, do you think there's any sort of outdraft? I think it's pretty much both teams are playing up to their full potential.
Exactly, they're just playing their style. Although, I would love to nitpick against the Gragas because it doesn't show the Valdez that we know.
What kind of Valdez do you actually know?
The aggressive one, the scaling one. Gragas kinds of hits a wall come late game.
I mean, like, we might be surprised if he can actually go in with a isolating explosive cast and go in straight away. But hey, it's not us to judge because our casts are ready. And this is going to be a heated rift with our 2 squads. So let's show it. Casts, take it away.
Let's go! And second series na tayo.
Uy,
EVOS
may
versus
timer.
One Team. And kami ulit na magiging shotcaster niya ako. Si Yasumi ako kasama ko dito. Si Paring Osiris. At ang Nostra namin ni Paring Osiris kung anong kinabilis ng Cerberus at SLG kanina, yun naman ang ikitatagal ng EVOS at One Team, Paring Osiris. Is that right?
Yes. Yes, that's right, not left. Kasi nga, di ba, alam mo naman 'tong dalawang 'to eh, medyo sila yung sanay sa mga Dragon Dance. Hindi sila basta-basta nagko-full commit, lalo na kung alam nilang tagilid ang Vapor. And to be honest, no, kung titingnan din naman natin yung ating lineup, meron lang silang good safety ng early game because of Camille and Kha'Zix. Pero entirely, you want to push for late game. Kasi meron kang late game Queen, you have the Nasus na kailangan mag-Fimbol, mag-Ludens, mga ganong klaseng items. And then, syempre, si Kuya Ninja 7, eh, kailangan din niya ng items sa Senap na pwedeng makatulong sa kanila. So overall, ano to eh, turtle game para sa One. And EVOS should be the one who's going to pull the trigger as early as they can dahil may possibility din na mag-fall off itong Z.
Yeah, tama daw ang Paring Osiris. Talagang, alam mo kung Cerberus to, malamang meron na tayong 4-5 kills sa bot. 1 minute.
Oo, baka may meet up sila sa mid lane.
Di natitigil yan. Pero as you see,
Aram.
parehas na team. Tahimik yung mapa natin kasi they're both busy farming sa kanilang respective jungle for both the junglers natin ng EVOS and One Team. And as you see, wala pa tayong rotations na nakikita dito. And just so happens, Yumao dito sa middle lane siya, no? Hindi siya nag-bot lane kasi nga naman, mas okay magkasama ang Senna at ang isang Susan. Para nga naman, parehas silang nakakapag-farm. Mutual mutual benefits. Pero dito sa may bottom lane nga, try-bush natin, hinabol. Itong isa at na-embrace itong si Valdus. Valdus is still gonna be safe though. And matutulungan pa din naman siya ng dalawang ka-team niya na Dragon Laners.
Yan nga, oo. And yung mga Dragon Laners, ito parang second series na natin nakikita na yung mga Dragon Laners natin, napakainit ng ulo. Akala mo tanghali din sa Summoner's Rift sa sobrang init. Pero gusto nga nila makuha yung kanilang early game momentum kung saan dire-diretso na ang palitan sa Dragon Lane. And considering nga na merong Spirit Fire, they can just whittle down itong mga targets. Pero Sanyo at Yumao, may laban nga dito sa top lane.
Galing na mid lane dito si Yumao. And mukhang habulin nila dito si Lloyd. But Lloyd, Forger is still alive. At mapo-force nga lang siya mag-TP out dito. Si Shanyo. Parang si Shanyo tsaka si Yumao. Parang Dora the Explorer. Gala ng gala sa mapa.
Naku, yun na nga. No, kumbaga kung kanina, meron tayong Vamos. Ito talaga mismong si Dora the Explorer na. And that's something na para ma-push even further yung advantage ng isang Kaysa. Kumbaga, if you're going to be a sitting duck dun sa iyong lane, delikado ka sa Death Mart ni Kuya G4. Kaya gumagawa ng movement ngayon si Kuya Yumao para makakuha siya ng early game prowess na pwede nilang i-convert towards mid game and secure the late game. Pero nga, so far, hindi nag-epektibo yung unang rotation. A good ward coming in from Valdus. Mukhang nagawa nila yung homework na kung saan na in-expect na nila ang pagbisita ni Kuya Shanyo.
Yeah, tama ka doon. Parang he understood the assignment ni Kuya Valdus dito. And eto na naman, mainit na naman tayo sa bottom lane. Kasi parehas na team na to, parehas na duo laners na to. Parehas silang merong pang-haras May pang-bully, may pang-poke, lapag mo lang dito, lapag mo lang doon. Parehas sila nagkakatamaan. Pero magkakatalo kasi yan kung sino yung unang marorotatean ng mga junglers nila. It's all about the numbers din. If you wanted to get pick up, parehas na team natin, gusto nila ng pick up. We have a Zed sa side ng EVOS, we have a Kha'Zix. Ito yung mga assassin na to, sila yung usually na nagbibigay ng space para doon sa mga late gamers nila na mga champions na nasa Dragon Lane as of now. Pero ito na ngayon, sinasabi ko, galing kay Valdus. Explosive gas! Pinasabog, papalapit ito si CU. Pero si CU still alive and is still walking pabalik dito sa base. Pero mapu-force back sila, but man, they're alive!
Grabe naman yung ginawa doon ni Kuya Ninja 7.
Yeah,
para lang maligtas ang kanyang sarili. Pero nabakbakan pa rin, madam.
Yeah, wait, there's more. Kasi dito na tayo sa may Dragon Pit natin. Hero Central will think it's still gonna be there. And yung Infernal Drake, masisecure pa rin nga na side ng EVOS while taking the life of Jianyo as well for Catherine. Di pa rin magiging enough para mapabagsak at least itong si Fair Player. 1-4 in favor ng EVOS.
puro bitin ang mga kamatayan ng mga players dito pero successfully taking the Infernal Drake sa kamay ng EVOS. That moment na nagamit nila yung proper timing ng Hero's entrance, tumalbog na parang bouncing balls itong One Team na kung saan hindi na nila nagawa ng paraan na makuha din yung Dragon. Considering din kasi na yun nga wala nauna na sila and clean up na lang tong part na to. Nakakuha pa sila ng mga pabalot o kaya mga take home na kills. And overall, EVOS mukhang sila ang nakakuha ng timings ngayon dahil nga sa usapang early game, usapang tempo. This is EVOS who should be pulling the triggers or looking for those fights at nagawa naman nila yon. The setup even nung binisita nila si Kuya Siu at Ninja 7 at nagamit na yung kanilang resources, even flash. So, the moment na bumak sila, it was a big opening for EVOS to do the Infernal Drake. Pero Rift Herald ang minamatahan ng 1. Pero sapat na ba yun para hindi dumating ang EVOS dito sa labang ito?
May mga ulti, lahat ng EVOS dito. Here comes the on para sa mga miyembro dito ng One at na-pushback naman yung One Esports dito para mapalayo sa Rift Herald na nanakaw dito ni Balduz. And nakaling sulit na sulit! Tinamaan si Susan, pinauwi. Si Ninja 7 medyo nagdadalakan daw sabay flash out ang ginawa dito ni Yumao. He's still alive, they're still alive except for One. And si Sui nga yung na-punish nila doon and transitioning right away to the third push together with this Rift Herald na fresh kakakuha pa lang sa peak.
At ayun nga, no, gaano nga kabilis ng pagkuha doon. Ganun din kabilis sa pagkuha nila sa sa Baron Lane. At yung Dragon Lane, labanan lang ng 1v1 with the Great One. Pero dahil nga may Divine Thunderer dito, si Kuya Kid, mukhang mataas naman ang chances para makasurvive si Kuya G4. Pero sino nga ba ang unang maglalabas ng Hullbreaker dito sa dalawang to? Because knowing Zed, definitely nakita natin to sa PH meta na siya yung nagdadala ng Hullbreaker, si Kuya Rice. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, siya yung naikipag-split at syempre may dual potential din. Having the Black Cleaver, kahit sabihin mong humarang pa si Kuya Nasif or ibang members, may chance sila to make sure na mapanalo yung mga side lane pushes. Pero so far, si Kid pa lang yung sumasagot doon. At mukhang mag-flip tayo na switch dahil si Kuya Lloyd na ang haharap sa kanya. At wala pa namang big objective, pero mainit tong One.
Mainit talaga yung One dito. May black miss sila, may tago-taguan. So gusto nilang maka-pick off dito. Sabi ko nga sa'yo, parang Osay, kailangan ng dalawang teams na to yung mga pick off. Lalo na itong si Kha'Zix para makakuha siya ng early advantage nga. Yun naman din yung strength ng isang Kha'Zix. Try to pick up 1 by 1 dito yung side ng EVOS. Sila actually yung medyo egol pagdating sa network natin and sa number of kills. And as much as possible, no, EVOS din dito, alam nila na yun din yung gusto ng One Team na naghahanap sila ng isang mata-target dito pero hindi mag-isa dito si Lloyd dahil nandito si Valduz sa may bottom lane na ginamit na agad yung kanyang explosive cast at pushback agad itong si Xianyo. Uwi siya dun, no?
Oo, napatulsik talaga siya ng tuluyan at si Kuya Xianyo 30 seconds. So okay lang yung timing. Okay lang din na napaaga ang uwi ni Kuya Xianyo para make sure tayo no na safe ang ating Dragon. Kailangan na niya makapag-rotate kaagad. Habang itong si Kuya Kide, tuloy pa rin ang split push. Pero ang EVOS, naka-ready na sila, naka-setup na sila. Even for the vision at Kuya Xianyo, tamang void spikes lang, dagdag vision. At si Kuya Siu, hindi yata ito yung tamang oras para umatras dahil 3 segundo na lamang ang lalabas na ang Ocean Drake. At mukhang hindi pa plano pumwesto ng One Team.
Yeah, down pa dito yung explosive cast neto ni Valduz as of now. Pero yung One Team dito, speaking of pwesto, pumupwesto na as of now. Pwede ito maging 4v5 dahil nasa malayo itong si Kuya Lloyd as of now. Pero yung One Team, hindi din sila nagpapadalos-dalos dito na i-all-in yung Dragon. Kasi alam nila, ito na nga yung EVOS. Naglakad lang at sinisigas nila na galing dito sa likod itong si Lloyd. Pero wala siya naabutan. Pero meanwhile, dalawa yung na-taunt dito ni Kuya, fair player. Pero walang follow-up agad-agad. Kami mo na sa EVOS. Pero grabe naman yung killer instinct kayo mao. Pero wala siya napayao doon sa may member ng side ng EVOS. And nagkagamitan lang dito ng mga ulti men. One team, dalawang ulti na burn habang we have everything ulti coming from the side ng EVOS.
Oo, naku po, delikado yung ginagawa nila. Burn, ultimation, all across the board.
Pero ito Hextech ultimatum, they will be able to take down pa din naman itong si G4 with that ultimate coming from Kid. Pero EVOS dito, pili ko hindi pa rin sila mag-give up on this Dragon pit. And mukhang nagki-clean up lang sila dito ng dance floor, paring Osay.
Oo, no? Clean up lang at hindi nila sinusukuan. Ito na yung sinasabi natin na long games. Dahil nga walang gustong tumalong dito sa mga tropa natin dahil 10 minutes na pero 2-1 pa rin Perena.
Explosive cast, dalawa ang medyo na-isolate dito na pullback. Pero nasa na naman yung follow-up.
Wow!
Sila dito sa Dragon para sa side ng EVOS. Teleportation coming from
Oh,
Lloyd.
no!
Pero nakaling sumulit dito kay Ninja 7. Ninja 7, not so Ninja. Pero buhay ka rin naman siya. Ang unang Mao dito is si Yumao. Sumunod lang dito itong si Ninja 7. At nanalo pa doon yung side ng EVOS. Nakuha na nila yung Dragon. Napatay pa nila yung dalawa. Nakakuha pa lang sila ng tower dito sa may gitna. Saan ka pa? Sa kanila na.
Ayun na nga, no, si Yumao. Hindi na nagawa ang kanyang best para malinis itong EVOS at humayo sila para entirely makuha yung Dragon at Referral. So makikita natin yung replay dito. No? Medyo scattered ang 1 at syempre si Kuya Valdus focus lang sa goal. Kaya itong 1 siguradong E1 dahil masyadong E1 yung naging setup nila. At dahil sa pagkakahiwalay nila si Kuya Kid, kita mo naman no, nasa gilid siya masyado. And to think na wala si Kuya G4, they still won that team fight. It speaks a lot kung gaano kalakas ang team fighting ng EVOS ngayon. Pero napakilig si Madam doon sa void spikes ni Kuya Shanyo dahil muntik na naman makancel at magkapang-abot ng mga apports natin.
Oo, muntik na yun, no? Void spike, tas void seeker. Pa-void.
Oo, naku,
Ma'am,
nga,
pa-void.
no? Boy brothers
Buti
and
na lang.
sisters pala to si Sanyo tsaka si Yumao.
Munti ka na. Pero Gucci pa din naman yan. Doon sa nagtipi sa may top lane. Pero you see, no, realizing one team, doon sa team fight na yun, kanina balikan natin, si Siu yung magiging supposed to be reliable na frontliner nila dito. Pero kanina, siya yung unang bumabaki. Pero ito, nagkasalubog dito si Fair Player at si Shanyo. Pero si Shanyo nabago nila exhaust. Pero Fair Player still alive. Sabay na push back dahil the body star will be there. Let's go with the barrel roll. Pero explosive kasi di pa rin enough na napagwagsak dito si Shanyo. Sanginingan na lang. Pero Anino na shoot again. That will be enough. Nakaling will be there as well as Illumitan. Itong si Yumao. At Yumao na nga ng tuluyan. Itong kaisa ng side ng One Team. 2 down na naman in favor ng side ng EVOS.
Pinakitaan ni G4 ng malakanino ni Kuya Shikamaru doon dahil nga nagulat si Kuya Shanyo. Maganda na sana simula nila kaso overcommit si Kuya Shanyo and masyadong mainit.
Alam mo kung ano yung naging tanong ni Shanyo bago siya mamatay?
Ano?
Shanyo nanggaling. Di ba? Hindi niya nakita agad eh.
Oo, akala ko nga. Kaya nga sakto siya maging jungler eh. Kasi Shan tayo, yo. Di ba, Shanyo?
Shan tayo.
Pare, sama ka ba sa amin? Shanyo?
Starbs. Hanap tayong shotty.
Oo, Starbs, pare.
Sa jungs.
We go Fortes, pare. BGC. Shanyo. Sige, corps ako dyan. Di ba? Mga ganon. Kaya, kaso, siya yung bumulagta eh. Pinakitaan siya ng kanino na may shuriken. So, Shanyong nanggaling. So, swabe, no?
Suavity,
pero, wala medyo iba pa rin yung kalibre na dala ni Kuya G4 dahil sa kanyang actually humabol lang siya doon sa team fight na yon and a single ward on the tribe rush told him na gamitin nga yung kanyang anino doon. Yun na.
But with the Stasis, pero wala din naman dito ng Golden Shadow kasi maiiwan yata dito si Fair Play pero hindi ka namin nakakayaan because the explosive cast to save you, my friend, and that hero's entrance para makapag-find out ng hero's entrance. Pero nakaling, solid na naman the Stasis will be there na binigay dito ang Ninja 7 sabay flash out. Pero si Yumao lumayo na din, ayaw niya na daw promonta dahil yung supposed to be fronta nila nauuna dun sa may likuran si Siu.
At wala talagang meat shield. Yun yung medyo kulang. And meron naman silang sustain. Ang weird lang ni Kuya, para dito kay Kuya Ninja 7, no? Meron siyang grasp na yan. Dahil alam na natin yung pampakulit ng isang Senna. Pero hindi nga support din natin ng isang Senna ngayon. Dahil ang Font of Life, napunta nga dito kay Kuya Siu. Na kung saan, the distribution na manggagaling doon sa Spirit Fire, magiging tanky sila. Kaso parang hindi pa ito yung oras para pumasok sila. And knowing nga na meron tayo Black River Wielders. Teka lang!
Naku po! Tinok agad, men! Magulat si Kip doon. Binata agad si Kip. Pero ito, si Q4 medyo nagdedelikado buhay pa nila. Yung Dragon na dadakaling na naman. Pero good thing, naligtas ng minions yung isa na nanakbo. Pero si Yumao, men! Talagang sinasabuhay niya yung kanyang pangalan. Lagi siya yung una eh.
Napapadala sip. Gawin na lang kaya niyang panaw.
Yumao naman parehas ng minion. Yumao.
No, pero alam mo yun, para naman medyo mas
Mas
Kasi lagi naman
maintindihan,
siyang
no?
patay eh, di ba? Oo, kasi Yumao, masyadong malalim. At least pag iba, panaw. O kaya yatap, di ba?
Oh, yatap.
Yatap.
Yung killer instinct, killed instinct.
Oo, gano'n, no, di ba? O kaya no instinct. Kasi alanganin eh, no? Medyo delikado yung mga ginagawa
Delicate
dito.
eh.
Ni Kuya Yumao, no? Medyo umay yung mga plays na ginagawa niya. And marami nga questions doon sa mga ganong klase. And to be honest, no, itong One Team, in general, hindi lang kay Yumao. Kasi nakita rin natin si Sianyo with overcommitment, si Kid na not entirely going for the Hextech ultimatum for those big catch, and Siu not going for those meat shield frontline. And yun nga, no, nasabi mo na, ito na muna tayo.
Yeah, pero ito na naman tayo, Stacy. Medyo nagpatagal yata dito si Kuya Sianyo, pero hindi siya na pinaalis. Meron Kuya Badgus with that explosive cast, taking him down right away. Binato ng insecticide si Kuya Sianyo, pero joke lang, hindi kami magbaback. Nakita naman niya ng One Team dahil may kalalapag lang na wards kanina-nina lang. Neto ni Kuya Ninja 7 kaya hindi na nakapag-flank side ng EVOS, pero wag kang maingay. May like a G4 sa may bandang huli at sinismoke out ng EVOS dito. Sabi niya, let's pretend. We're doing Baron para lumabas sila dito. Pero grabe naman yun.
Grabe naman yun.
Na ginagawa ni Kuya G4.
Grabe si Kuya G4 dito. Kunyari, yung anino, damo. Pero yung pala, tunay na anino at maging katotoo. Lumipat dun si Kuya Z at mukha pa nga siyang, muntik pa siya ma-deads dahil doon sa ginawa niya. Pero syempre, Zonya at ibang backup ng EVOS, no, na nagawa nilang maibangon pabalik o mahatak pabalik si Kuya G4. Pero yun nga, napag-usapan natin kanina na ang dapat may shield dito, ang dapat tangke dito ay si Kuya Siu. Pero kung titignan mo yung gamit niya, Fimbul Winter pa lang at Luden's Echo. Yes, you have the damage for the Spirit Fire. You have the Oblivion Orb for anti-healing. Pero a Fimbul Winter will not stop yung sakit ni Cat Satan tsaka ni G4. Remember, Cat Satan is sitting on a 3-item power spike. You have the Storm Razor, Infinity Edge, and even the Black Cleaver na kung saan kahit sino ang humarang, tatastasin. And even si Kuya Lloydie. Si Kuya Lloydie, nagpapakunat to para hindi na siya masaktan. Baga, inaabulsa ni Basha, no? Ganyan ka ba katigas, Kuya Lloyd? Kasi, Bramble Vest, Death's Dance at Divine Thunderer. At yun nga, meron din siya pa damage item to entirely whittle down itong side ng One Team. So ito, makikita natin yung pwesto ng EVOS na kung pwede sila mag-set up magandang death brush or mag-surprise dito as they have the explosive cast. Pero dahil nga doon sa side brush,
uy, nabuhay pa si Kuya Lloyd dito. Pero stay safe to negate that Noxian Guillotine and enough na yung boy Seeker to end the life ni Kuya Lloyd dito. Nice juggle though coming from the side ng One Team, pero wait, there's more dahil mauhuli na naman. Yung eto lang yung ninja na laging nauhuli, dapat taguyan eh.
Hindi kasi may ninja din sa kabila Kaya
ang tunay na ninja, no?
Oo, tunay na ninja. Ikaw, tsaka isipin mo, si G4, number 4. Ikaw,
number 4.
Ninja 7. So mauuna talaga siya, number 4 siya Oo, kaya siya yung ahead ganun.
Kala ko dapat mauuna yung One Team kasi One Team di ba?
Oo, kaso wala
alphabetical pala, no? Mauuna yung E kesa O.
Oo, yung One
pala
Team.
yun.
Alam mo kasi, One Team sana. Kung One Team sila. Kaso ang nangyayari, one member. Kasi isa-isa sila.
Ay, audition.
Yun yung, audition. So, yun yung mahirap. One person yung nangyayari ngayon. At hindi nila ma-figure out yung movements ng EVOS as they are also proactively denying yung vision game. So ngayon, kung titignan natin yung mapa in terms of Ocean Elder Drake, pili lang. Actually, walang vision magkabilang kupunan. Pero, nasa lanes yung ating mga tropa ng One Team, kaya alam nila na walang tao sa Elder Drake.
Ginagawa ni G4 dito kay Sianyo. Sabi niya, hindi kita papatayin. Papauwiin lang kita kasi nakawa na dito na side ng EVOS yung Elder Drake without any contest coming from One Team dahil late na sila sa party. Sayang yung pinadala sa'yo na Tupperware ng iyong mami.
Naku, hindi mo pwede iwan yung Tupperware na yan. Mas mahalaga ka dyan.
Mas mahalaga yun
Ay, mas mahalaga yung Tupperware kaysa dyan. Oo, yun. Tama. No? And baka mapalo ka. Ito na, Baron muna. Dahil nga pipwesta, pero Black Miss. Mukhang nag-miss na naman ang Void Seeker, pero warded ang parting iyon at si Sianyo. Uy, jungler pa!
Hindi niya talaga sinasakta para kay G4, pero binigyan na ng Death Mark! Hindi pa lumalabas, patay na! Pero dito sa may bandang, parang pita natin. Wait, third more kasi sama-sama sa gitna yung tatlo with the Hex ultimate mo. O sige, sama-sama mag-hibernate na yung explosive gun, pero sama-sama kayo. Mauubos at machichepi. O picture-picture muna with the Stacy, sabay at Tarped and Ace na nakuha dito ng EVOS.
Ayun na, hindi na sila naging EVOS and mukhang hindi na EVOS, mukhang EVOS na kasi nga hindi na na-save ang One Team. As they are the ones going, okay, tama naman si Kuya Genza. Dapat sila si
Kanina
Genza
pa yan
4 eh. Oo.
Biruin mo sa sobrang lakas ng Cerberus nakaabot dito sa may sa laban ng EVOS at at One Team. Sige, sa kanina pa yun, Lord.
Ano lang yun, kumbaga spotlight of the game.
Oh. Well, it is what it is. EVOS dito. Taking no chances, giving no spaces against One Team. Yung One Team, naging hindi na sila iisa gumalaw. Kalat-kalat nag-KKB sila doon, parang Osay.
Yun nga, yun kasi yung mahirap doon eh, yung nangyaring pa isa-isa nila. Literally, no, they living up to his name, si Yumao, literal na pumapanaw, nawawala, Yumayao, at tumahayo itong EVOS, they're having the freedom para makuha yung buong mapa and even setting up for death brushes. And kahit sabihin natin, hindi naman sila nakakuha ng mga dose, yung mga kills, hindi man nila tatapos, they are burning the summoner spells. And syempre, the reset timers na kailangan nilang bumalik to regenerate at pagbalik nila, nandun na yung vision game. Andun na yung setups ng ginagawa o yung sabihin nating lineups ng EVOS.
You know the problem sa lineup dito ng side ng One Team? Puro sila late game pero wala silang pang-enable sa Kha'Zix nila. Wala silang pantulong kay Kha'Zix dito to give space, to help them para makarating sa late game dito. Hindi gaya ng draft ng side ng EVOS dito. Well-rounded yung kanilang draft.
Yes, ayun nga, no. Kumbaga, usapang well-rounded. Andun din yung tanke, andun din. Kumbaga, kompleto Ricardos, no. Hindi sila kulang-kulang.
May support, may pang-survive.
We are expecting sa Camille Kha'Zix to tandem Merino, pero knowing na si Kuya Lloyd on that Darius is definitely, no. Oo, hindi natin naramdaman yung Hextech Ultimatum na kahit panghuli man lang kay G4 na and to the point na nahuli man nila si G4 is hindi na yun naka-apekto sa miyembro ng EVOS at nakakuha pa ng Dragon dahil kay Kuya Valdus. And maganda ang pinakita ng EVOS compared from yesterday na medyo may mga shaky parts pa sila.
Yeah, indeed. Pero syempre, babalikan muna natin yung mga panel natin. Panel, take it away.
One that really questioning a lot is going to be on the penalty side, which is going to be Ricky and also Otto Luz joining me. But Ricky, we saw how EVOS dominated the early phase throughout the entirety of the match, and it's just why they are so hesitant about everything.
I know, right? I want to start like from the very beginning where this is classic EVOS. They want to fight early. They want to win early. And on the other side, for one team, I know they want to play slow, but maybe playing 5 scaling champions. I consider Kha'Zix being incredibly strong late game. 5 scaling champions might be like overdone, right? Like it's too much because they can't do anything at all in the first 15 minutes of the game. They're literally going to lose every single fight that EVOS is going to start if they take them on. And the fact that Autolus actually brought this up, like the Camille games that we usually see are Hullbreaker Camille's. And this time, you can't play Hullbreaker because literally Camille is your only way to engage on the side of EVO. So yes, we couldn't see Hullbreaker, and that is why.
I really think that there's also one breaking point in that game, and that's the Infernal Dragon. It baited one team, right, into, forcing a 50-50. If it was a different dragon, it is most likely going to be one team concentrating on the Rift Herald or, just going for a handshake, just making sure that they don't need to, they don't need to fight at 4 minutes because you're right, their composition, no damage at all at the early few minutes. And we did say that one team will scale into the late game so well. That's the win condition for them to draft the marksman. But EVOS checkmate them by the Gragas pick in the jungle. It was so effective. I know it's not a Valdez scary show that we are accustomed in seeing, but his impact was so impressive.
Yeah, going back to what Omo was saying, right? Valdez is definitely that team player. Like G4, he has that duality that can be that utility for the entire squad if he needs to be. And going back to what Chu said earlier, I think they still took too long to finish the game. They were 10k ahead. They already had, what, 3 dragons? And I was wondering why they were so hesitant in starting the Baron. Like, they could use the Baron, start the Baron, reel in one team to force a fight, finish them off, because they're literally in the lead. They were waiting for that Elder Drake. And honestly, that's still a worrying trend, because what if it's 1-1 again, right, Otto? What if?
Well, if it's a 1-1, what would happen is we will have a 3-way tie between FENNEL Varsity, EVOS, and One Team, where things will just go from exciting to, a different level of exciting, right? A 3-way tie would mean that we could end up with a tiebreaker, right? And that's the best way to end the play-ins, right? We still don't know who's the stronger team and who's going to advance to the best of 5 that will happen tomorrow, right? Now, the thing about, I just would like to also emphasize on one thing. The Kai'Sa in the mid lane, it won't work against Zed. It will eventually be punished by G4. And G4 is a legacy player, as our casters did say, that really showed his prowess on this Assassins. I know he has turned it back a little and he's willing to, be a little bit conservative and going for the Black Cleaver for that Zed, but it still is a Zed. The threat of being able to control Yumao at the early game was so evident.
That's the thing, right? You're Kai'Sa up against an Assassin with a Gragas jungler, with a Galli on the opposite side. You're literally going to be staying in the vicinity of your tower to farm comfortably. Or else if you extend, you're just going to die.
Well, that's going to be EVO's case when it comes to hesitance and what so forth. But I do want to know, is there any slightest or slimmest chance if they keep on dragging, one might actually turn the table around?
Yes, definitely, it is possible. Because then again, even in that game alone, Rico was holding her breath. And like, why are they not finishing the game? They would end up losing. I mean, if the Elder gets stolen, if the Baron gets stolen, it would turn out to be on one team. And that's the thing between these two teams, right? EVOS play extra safe. To their credit, it worked on game number 1. But on game number 2, if they do the same thing, without the draft difference that we saw on game number 1, it could turn out to be a one-team victory after all. And we could end up with a 3-way tie. Oh, no.
It's going to be a lot of tiebreakers. And plus, going to determine who's actually getting a second and third place. It's already hard enough for us right now. And FIL is in the fray as well. The thing is, we do know one. Just now, it's kind of hard. When we saw the last minute, they kind of scattered all over the place. They tried to do something. It didn't work out. Maybe you think Rico from his side, they might change a bit when it comes to drafting after this.
I really think they should pick something that can easily match or stabilize the early game. Because I think 4, 5 scaling champions ain't really going to cut. Because if you decide to take them on, you're really going to lose. You have no damage, you have nothing, you have only one single engage, which is the Camille, which usually we want the Camille to split push, pick up Hullbreaker, just as Autolus has mentioned. So it is going to be an issue. So I want to see more engaged in the draft, better engaged in the draft.
Imagine this, they were winning all the lanes, right?
Yeah.
At the very early levels, right? In fact, Chanyo was even able to get 2 Scuttle Crabs. And in previous patches, it will be very impactful. Remember, in 4.1b, the experience on that Scuttle Crab got halved, I believe, from 200 to 120 or to 100.
Now, it's kind of being scaled down for a bit, but you know what? But I agree regarding about the double scuttle. And also, speaking of which, I do want to see if One actually try to change, because we haven't seen a lot of changes coming up from One. They're really scaling a bit greedy. And this is the first time, honestly, I feel Rico really love Hullbreaker on Camille. The only champion, she's going to be giving a green light for the Hullbreaker.
Hullbreaker Camille for Satsum? You should be.
Otto!
You should be. You should be.
I should be. At least it's not a mid lane Hullbreaker Jace or a Corki Hullbreaker. So one thing though I want to see from One Team, because they're known to be a squad that loves to double 80 carry comp. We have Akshan. They can play Akshan in the mid lane, but not Hullbreaker, please, no. No.
We've seen that before. They did actually pick up Akshan previously in other teams, and first build for Hullbreaker.
You know what? I love the Corki better than the Akshan. At least it gives you magic damage, right?
That's true. Yeah, better range as well.
Yeah, better 4-minute fight, objective control with the package. So we'll see if One Team will transition over to a more conventional mid laner marksman in the Corki.
You're hoping for that, actually.
Yeah, actually, because I'm with One Team.
But hey, EVO's still banning out 6 again. They really want to go for the fight here, Riku.
It's pretty good against the Lucian. it has always been like one of the classic matchup for a time. If you want to match the Lucian's power, you pick up a Quirky.
Now, this will be very interesting because Senna could still be left open. And we now know that Cat Satan has a Lucian that he can default back to. So EVOS said that they will be switching things around and they expect that one team will eventually pick Gragas if they go for a different priority. So, yeah, ban the Jace, ban the Gragas. First pick for EVOS will most likely be?
Camille is open again.
Yeah. I mean, do they want the Galio again? Because it's highly possible, right?
Yeah.
Like, just give that to one. We managed to work around it because, okay, they didn't pick up Hullbreaker. It's totally fine. So they're going to give that to one.
And what this does is it forces one team to respond with a Senna pick, right? Senna is not a Yumao champion. That's basically what we have seen so far in the play-ins. It has been whenever they play Senna, it will be Ninja 7, an original marksman being back on the marksman, which actually is a very interesting thing. Now the question is, will this be a Camille Senna again for one team?
There's a big possibility, right? Because you want to scale into the late game. That's one team's thing. That's their theme. That has always been their theme. Senna is a very safe pick, especially red side. You're fine. You can pair it up with a whoa. Okay. Sorry, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit.
Okay.
The EVOS banning out Gragas means they want to remove disengage. This tells us EVOS wants to go for an all-in composition, maybe even a full melee composition. One team picking up the Olaf here means that EVOS will have to think twice picking up a melee comp against this Olaf.
Exactly, and one direct counter to a Senna Galio composition is the Olaf, right? He's not going to mind those crowd controls that you will have. And looking at this composition, this is a perfect opportunity for them to still play the Kaisa for Yumao. Once Olaf comes in, once Camille comes in, you know what Yumao will do. Killer Instinct. Forward to the fight.
Yeah. Although I want an enchanter paired. Like we were talking about
Rakan.
Rakan! I said earlier they needed another engage. Rakan will solve that problem. Earlier, it was only solely Kid's job with the Hextech Ultimatum. Now with the Rakan, that means Kid can actually buy Hullbreaker.
Finally, she's saying a green light for Hullbreaker. That's pretty rare, actually. But I'm liking the fact that you thought about Evil side. They're thinking about, are they going for a million? And straight away, they're answering with a Lucian there. That's definitely going to change a lot when it comes to the draft later on.
I know that Lucian has a very high win rate, but Smash Logic Gaming already lost on that champion, so it's no longer 100%. And looking at this 3 versus 3, just this 3 alone, or just this 6 alone, I'm favoring one team.
Yeah, this is a very clear all-in type of composition for one, and nothing to deter them if they engage first. So with a Galio being picked, without the Gragas, they don't have disengage. What, are you going to squeeze yourself in to pick up the Braum? We know the Braum isn't exactly the best, and I love this pick from EVOS. They're anticipating that the Kaisa lacked the Enchanter. What is left there, right?
So they banned the Lulu, so they could have expected, you know, a Lulu support with a Rakan mid lane. Does one team play that? Well, we have to expect that they play everything. This is a very good pick. Corki still has wave clear. It's very flexible. Could be put in the dragon lane or in the mid lane.
We talked about this before, right? Like if you see an enemy play a Lucian, either play a Varus or a Corki, something that can outrange, but then, as you can see, Varus ban, now Corki is in. I like this from one. This is completely different from what we saw. Corki has really decent scaling, actually, but also mid-game, a lot of mid-game damage.
Yeah, I know. And I know that I won't end up winning because I guess, you know, I predicted 2-0 for one team. That's going to be the Morgana, and where will that go? That will be the question. It could be a Morgana Galio bot lane and a mid Lucian.
Yeah, that is highly possible.
But my gripe about that is that it's against the Olaf.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think it's pretty okay as long as you keep tabs, right? If you're gonna put it in the mid lane, because if it's gonna be a Corki in the mid lane, actually, and as well as an Olaf, there you go. We're going back for the double marksman composition. That's a one-team staple. We've seen that back in the Summer Super Cup. I love what I'm seeing. We talked about how there's so many options right now for the double 80 carry composition with the Akshan. And there it is. One team has revealed it.
Akshan in the middle lane, Corki in the dragon lane. I'm loving the draft of one team overall. The wave clear will be there for EVOS though. And again, Lloyd will be a steady presence. having to execute this Olaf very early would allow him to reset. And one good thing about this composition of EVOS is that they can prioritize one champion right away, right? They have the Morgana, they have the Burst of Delusion, and Kha'Zix. Isolation damage shreds, and then on top of that, Noxian Guillotine, reset.
Yeah, that's true, right? There's a lot of potential there's an execution potential from the Darius, and as well as the potential for G4 to run amok. You can dash forward with the Black Shield, and you have no fear with the CCs holding you down, especially with a single target CC that One Team has with the Hextech Ultimatum.
I love this. G4 is saying, it's my time to shine. Game 1, the Zed. Game 2, the Lucian. But on the other hand, this will be very interesting because Action versus Lucian, I believe it's a fair fight. No one's going to kill each other. Not unless someone ganks your lane or someone overextends.
But hey, it's all down to will it be a 2-0 for EVOS or will it be a Power Spike Corki mid game and equal out for One Team Esports with a 1-1. It's really gonna be a hard one, but let's go back with the riff. Throw it to the castles, take it away.
Thanks a bunch.
Uy, ito na nga, no? Mukhang teleporter muna tayo, Madam Yasu.
Ayan na.
At
ito na kasi yun, rambling. Rambling na ulit.
Alam mo naman.
Pinapelo ko eh.
Yung pala rambling ang ending. Ano ba yun? Pero syempre.
Rambling pa din. Syempre
Ano
kami pa din magiging shoutcaster niya ako si Yasu. May kasama dito si paring Osiris. Tanghaling tapat. Good vibes lang. Actually,
Good
hapon na,
vibes.
no? Sana may may mga merienda kayo habang nanonood ng WCS Finals dahil this is definitely the last game between EVOS and One Team. And meron pa tayo mamaya pinakahihintay yun, men. FLA.
No, kumbaga, standby nga sa FLA dahil at syempre, i-ready nyo na rin ang inyong merienda tulad na sinabi ni Madam Yasu. Sa mainit na panahon, ano pa ba ang gusto nyo kundi ang malamig na Coke?
Halo-halo.
Ay,
na ano?
Doon tayo sa sponsor.
Ay, nga pala.
Kay Coke tayo. Mami,
Diretso, no?
Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola.
Baka mahirap na eh. Alam mo naman. Pero, yun nga, no, halo-halo wala si Madam Yasu. Pinoy. Kumbaga, turon, banana Q, halo-halo. Pero mukhang babalik na tayo sa loob ng rift. At ano lang kami, nagpakita lang kami ng bagya sa inyo. Nandito pa naman kami, buhay pa naman kami. At yun nga, sa init ng panahon, kumuha na kayo ng halo-halo. O kaya Coca-Cola Omsim. Gusto nyo, zero sugar, meron tayo dyan.
Zero sugar, tapos light. Diba?
Oo, diba?
Parang wala naman
ito na, slow
parang
game to.
asserting dominance agad yung One Team,
Hindi kayo
pero again,
Cerberus.
Yeah. Tama naman yung sinabi mo kanina, parang Osai. This is gonna be another slow game.
Teka lang, si Ninja 7. Ako po, yun na nga, umaray dito at konting kalabit lang pero the ignite will be used ni Kuya Ninja 7. At yun ang nagiging senaryo natin na ito yung una na kaninang game nagre-respetuhan pa yung mga 3v3. Ngayon, bigla na lang may naipag-away na ng tuluyan. Kanina, kuha XP lang tol. Pare, we are friends here We're gonna get XP lang Ayun.
Chill lang tayo dito, bro. If you want, kuha na tayo halo-halo. Pero ito, naghalo-halo with the grand entrance. Sa pangat nila dito, ito si Cat Satan. Cat Satan is still alive right now. And one seeking the protection under the turret. Sabay kinain niya na din ang prutas na hindi naman forbidden dito sa ating Reef. Pero grabe, mag-assert ng dominance this time yung One Team. And yun nga, looks like the trend is still up. Puro 1-1 except sa Cerberus.
Kasi nga, One Team. Kailangan 1 point lang. Kasi pag naging 2 points, hindi na sila 1 team. 2 team na sila, di ba? Dapat, doon lang tayo sa identity. Teka lang.
Stick lang. Kumbaga sa pagrelasasyon, stick kwentuhan, di ba?
Oo,
Maraming
tama.
maraming side chicks, di ba?
Oo, bad
Delikado
bad
yan.
yun.
Alam kong masarap maghanap ng shouty, men. Pero stick to
Oo,
one tayo
pero
dito. Pero ito, stick to one nga ba sa
Uy,
likod?
teka
Nag-flash
lang.
in si Shanyo, pero Shanyon galing. Katsaytan is still alive. Isa
Oo,
meron pa rin
oo,
siyang
teka
flash
lang. Oh,
shield
huli ka,
dito.
dali.
Pero Katsaytan, one hit
Uy, ipit.
away. The juggling nga lang ng tower dito.
Uy,
Enough
isa na
na
lang.
para sa side ng One Team dahil napasukan din nila at nayatarp. Itong si Fair Player.
Naku, ate, yun na nga. Si Kuya Fair Player, pinakitaan mo ng unfair game kahapon. Ngayon, sila ang siyang bumisita. Kaso, si Kuya G4, huli na.
Huli na
Alam
sa
mo naman,
party.
alam mo naman ang police medyo laging huli. At ito nga, nakita
Yeah.
mo naman na-shackle. Pero the moment na na-shackle siya, nakalabas na siya sa tower range. Kaya pwede nang kunin ni Kuya Shanyo yung aggression at pwede naka-ready rin si Kuya Yumao para saluhin yung parting iyon. And ayun nga,
Oo
napaka-successful ng early game ng 1. At mukhang sinabi nila na anong mabagal sa 2 minutes, meron kaming 2 kills.
Yeah, 2 kills agad, sabi ng One Team dito. Sila naman ang nagpapakitang gilas talaga kasi kanina EVOS ang may labang. Pero hanggang kailan nila kayang hawakan tong early na kills na nakuha ng One Team. Kasi alam mo, paring Osay, talagang ini-expect natin long game 2 eh. Pwedeng kayo nakakuha ng first blood, pero mamaya merong mga talong moment. Pero dito sa top lane, mukhang hook-hook lang ginagawa ni Kuya Lloyd Porcher dito. Pero si Kid, sabi niya hindi ako papabata sa'yo.
Oo, baga na ako eh. Dapat nga one teen na siya, na teen na kasi last time kid pa rin siya ngayon hanggang ngayon. Kid pa rin.
Kid
Pero
pa
bale
din.
mo
Kid
naman
at
kid
heart.
by heart. Bale naman kid by. Oh, bale mo kidlat pala ibig sabihin niya kaya
Kidlat,
kid, di ba? Oo.
Mm.
Kasi di ba, pwede siyang gumamit ng mga ganong klaseng pump. Kumbaga mas mabilis pa sa lightning. Ganun siya kabilis
Mabilis
mag-strike.
pa.
Pero mukhang i-strike si Shanyo sa mid lane. Pero naka-ready naman si Fair Player para tulungan si Katsaytan. Pero tamang rotation na muli dahil objective is the name of the game. At magtatagpuan na nga sa lupang sinilangan ang dalawang apports natin para paglabanan ang Infernal. Pero mukhang one step ahead si Kuya Valdus at mukhang siya ang kukuha dito ng Rift Herald.
Sabi niya, dito ako sa Violet kasi Violet din ako. And alam
Ay,
naman natin
ganun
kung
ba
gaano
yun?
kabilis mag-take ng objectives ang mga classes natin, lalo na kapag uncontested and isolated ang kanilang mga target dito. Okay na kahit mag-isa lang siya, konting tulong lang galing sa kanyang mga kasangga, pero ito lilituran niya si Kuya Kid.
Uy,
Pero
teka lang.
wait lang daw, feeling ko inaabot muna sa kanila yung mga Coke, men, Coca-Cola. Sabi niya, palamig muna kayo, Lods. Masyado kayo mainit eh.
Lods, masyado kayong mainit. May mainit.
Very hot kayo eh.
Inom muna kayo, inom muna. Tamang lang, tamang chill lang. Sa
Chill
malamig,
lang.
sa malamig. Yan, kung gusto nyo ng black gulaman o kaya gusto nyo na...
Red gulaman, men.
Ano?
Red gulaman.
Ay, red, pwede yan, pwede yan.
Walang black
red.
gulaman. Black
Meron
or
rin black, may black
Meron
din.
ba?
Alam ko meron eh. Pero red, parang social yata yun sa'yo kasi red eh.
Hindi Well, kasi Coca-Cola, men. Coca-Cola. Alam mo pa, pwede mong gawin gulaman, gulaman, Coca-Cola, gulaman flavor.
gulaman
Baliktad pala,
mismo.
gulaman, Coca-Cola flavor.
Oo,
Gulaman
pwede.
mismo.
Oo, gulaman
Oxy,
zero.
or
Gulaman zero para walang sugar. Gusto mo ba yun?
Oo.
Ayan nga.
Between may tanong ako sa'yo, pare, Osay.
Ano yan?
Between Coke Zero at Coke Light, anong mas gusto mo doon? Alin ang mas matamis?
Parang ang kakaiba yung tanong mo. Hindi kaya yung Coke Light is baka magaan lang yun. Baka
very, very light, no?
pagka binuhat mo magaan. Yung Coke Zero, yun yung walang sugar. Feeling ko lang. O kaya baka. Yung Coke Zero, yun yung 0% sugar. Yung Coke Light, 50% sugar.
Light
parang
so 25, di ba? Parang milk tea.
Oo. Paano pag Facebook Light, di ba? 25% sugar lang din. Ganon, oo.
25% content, man.
Oo, yun.
Kasi alam mo naman sa
Kasi,
Facebook.
onti lang may scroll mo doon. Facebook Light di ba? So,
very, very light.
Oo. And yun nga, sobrang light talaga. At mukhang hindi light yung situation. Itong EVOS, dahil nga naman, no? Parang sunod-sunod yung ginagawa ditong pangbubulabog ng One Team. Pero kayo ba dyan sa ating mga viewers, sino ba ang sinusuportahan nyo ngayon habang wala pang FLA? Sino sa tingin nyo ang mananalo sa huling bakbakan? Is it gonna be a 1-1 o kaya 2-1? O, walang 2-1. Walang 2-1.
Walang tuwan.
Hindi best of 3.
Ano
Hindi
na
best
tayo?
of 3.
Dalawa lang. Dalawa lang.
Oo, dalawa lang. Dalawa lang.
Oo, parang kasi alam ko mainit ang laban. Pero scoring pa lang tayo dito, of course.
Oo,
And
tama.
yun nga, no, kailangan nilang lumamang at lumamang. Pero ito,
Ayun na, oh.
nagbalik na agad tayo.
Lumamang
May
nga.
naisama na agad na referral dito sa may top
Uy,
lane. Wala na
wow.
bottom lane hero entrance with a quickness nga. Coming from the One Team. Nakasurvive naman dito yung side ng EVOS. Pero yung kamapans, hindi naaabot dito kay
Uy,
Jimor.
okay.
Kumabot man,
Pinalusot pa.
medyo konti lang. Kala ko pa-block ni fair player.
Oo, and to be honest, no, kahit sabihin mong maganda rin yung timing ni Kuya Siu ng kanyang kamapans. Kasi kung sakaling hindi maligpit ng Rift Herald yung kanyang tore dito sa Dragon Lane, yung kamapans ang pwedeng sumalo nun. Pwede nilang mapang-damage, pero package muna.
Yeah, the package muna. Mukhang hindi naman nadaanan dito si fair player at hindi naman siya masyado napaangat dito ni Ninja 7. Tinakot lang, asserting dominance once again ang ginagawa dito ng side ng One Team.
Oo, napakabilis na mga kaganapan mula dito sa One Team compared kanina, no, na
Action
kanina.
Hullbreaker.
Naku, ito na. Action Hullbreaker. Nakita rin natin to kay Kuya Midarina sa PH Meta. At ngayon, makikita natin ang pagbabalik niya. Kahit naman noong day 1, no, nakita natin, I think kay Shu din yata yan. O sa ibang tropa natin dito sa WCS Finals yun eh.
I think kay Siu
Ay,
nga din yun.
Kay
Oo, sa ano.
Lenia ba yun?
Oo, kasi...
Lenya,
Oo,
yata.
kay Lenya. Ay, hindi men, si Lenya. Ibos yun eh. Puro Corky si Lenya.
Ay, Gorky ba
Dalawang
siya
Corky na may
kahapon?
Hullbreaker.
Alam ko parang nag-ano yata siya eh. Nag-surprise siya ng pick. Pero yun nga, no. Basta
series.
meron.
Oo, basta meron.
basta
React
meron.
siya. Kalaban
magulo.
hindi niya kahapon. Pero, yeah, going back dito tayo sa EVOS and One Team. Mukhang
Okay na.
pares naman sila nakapag-push ng isang tore pero huwag kang maingay. Chismisan sa damuhan. Hinihintay lang nila dito mapasrap.
Itong
Itong
ipis.
CU. Pero nagti-TP out. Itong si Kuya Baldus na sabi niya mamaya babalikan ko to.
Oo.
Babalikan ko to mamaya. Masyadong safe under the turret.
Oo, nag-iingat din si Kuya Siu dahil nga ayaw niyang mawami Yu. Kumbaga, delikado yung dalawang yun. At saka, nung pumunta siya dun sa kanya lane, naka-ready pa yung kanyang second skill, no? So, kahit wala namang scoundrel na madedetect, at least hidden siya sa mga mata ng tropa natin sa EVO. So, pagdating niya sa tore, hindi na nila magawang i-dive dahil malaki yung magiging cost lalo pa. Tapos itong One Team naka-set up sa mid lane and most probably might commence a push once na mawala si Kuya Valdus at saka si Kuya Fair Player.
Uy, pero ito movements coming from One Team dito. Grand entrance, magkoconnect dito kay Kuya Lloyd. Sabay dakaling, pero yung pumasok,
Uy,
sila
napaflash.
yung namatayan, napaflash out. Pero habot pa rin dito itong si Kuya Baldus. Pero Baldus, wala na maaabutan dito sa party. Pero pwede pa silang habulin pabalik dito. Ni Kid, may vision lang. Pwede siyang i-hextech ultimatum, pero scouting lang muna. Pero hindi nahabol talaga ng malalim-lalim side ng EVOS. Meanwhile, nakita nila dito itong CU, kamapansa naman. And tactical sweep ko lang tapamaan. Sabay.
Uy, grabe magpalusot!
Grabe yung palusot na yun, men. Kala ko mabablock pa ni Baldus, pero buhay pa rin naman si fair player.
Oo, Makunachi Ipo naman siya dito. Kaya easy lang, hindi na nag-matter yung kamapans na yun. Pero kamuntikan na yung kanilang pwestuhan dahil nga masyado na silang nag-overstay sa kaganapan na yun. After nga mawala si Ninja 7 sa bakbakan sa Baron Lane, dapat reset na rin. Kaso parang nag-greedy pa sila. They wanted to go for mid lane pero good defense naman na manggagaling sa 1 at papunta na tayo sa Dragon 3 Herald muli.
Yeah, 2 seconds na lang for the Dragon pero Reef Herald, sinisimulan na dito ng side ng EVOS and mukhang iniwan nila kasi alam nila na nandito nang galing yung One Team sa may bandang gitna na pwede sila maabutan doon sa kale, no? Pero hindi pa naman nare-reveal yung kanilang position dito as of now para sa side ng EVOS and One Team din, hindi pa nila din sinisimulan completely yung Reef Herald dahil hindi nila alam asan ang mga miyembro ng EVOS dito. Nakikita lang nila as of now, kanina itong si Lloyd, pero nakaling ginumitan sila dito ni Kuya Yumao sa may bandang likod. Nakuha pa din dito ng One Team yung referral, pero the quickness para dun sa dalawa dito sa ating River. At napabagsak nila itong si Pat Satan. Meanwhile sa may bandang likod, Hexagon Ultimatum will be used. Si Valdos buhay pa rin naman after that, pero Heroes entrance to survive by TP out. Mukhang iiwan na nila dito si Igor na sa apat. Ginarne siya habang hindi na nakapag-basketball si Kuya Lloyd. Yatarp na din.
Naku po, si Kuya Lloyd with the consecutive slam dunk contest, hindi na niya nagawang kunin yung kanyang reset. At si Kuya Valdos, parang dapat Valdos want to go even further dahil sa kanyang pagpasok sa tabi ni Kuya Yumao at sa tabi ni Kuya, ni Kuya Ki, nila Ninja 7, masyado na siyang nag-overcommit. At siya pa yung muntik mayatarp na kailangan paggamitin ni Fair Player yung kanyang Hero's Entrance to provide added shield and stop the burn mula doon sa Ignite na ginamit nga ni Kuya Ninja 7 at ni Kuya Kid. So medyo alanganin nga yung naging pwestuhan doon ni Kuya Valdos at Kuya G4, pero overall good play manggagaling sa One as they got the momentum back in their hands at even the double dragon sa kamay nila.
Double Dragon. Talagang one team na yun ang una on this game. And kailangan niya pang hawakan nila yon dahil hindi din naman ganun kalaki yung lamang nila pagdating sa network. Pero meanwhile sa may bottom lane, isolated na yan. Pero parang hindi naman. Medyo makunat pa rin itong si CU at mas nasaktan pa si Kuya Valdos. Pero nandito na. Mayday, Mayday! Si Kid hindi na abot dito. Pero medyo lumalalim siya dito sa mapa. Ward lang. Pero may kasama yan. Andito din itong si Kuya Rakan. Pero dito na lang tayo transition na the middle lane. May power pa dyan. Pero may referral pa rin naman yung side ng One Team dito. Siyempre, babangga pa din yan. Here comes the taunt of Duran. Pero napabangga na nga yung referral din. Of course, the tower will fall down as well. Pero manggagaling sa likod yung tatlo members na side ng One Team dito. Sila pa yung namatayan ng CU kasi nakapronta. Itong si Kuya CU. And isolated. Pero nagkapalitan lang actually sila ng middle lane dito dahil si G4 mukhang tumagilid ang vapor.
Ayun na nga yung sinasabi natin, no? Si Kuya CU, masyado siyang isolated na umaray siya sa pagpasok ni Kuya Valdos.
ICU-later.
Oo, ICU. At saka pagka nasobrahan. Uy, naku po.
Na lang. Isang hit na lang yun eh.
Nag-reset pa. Masyadong natuwa si Kuya Valdos sa pag-juggle sa pamamangka sa dalawang ilog.
Oo. Actually, ibibigay niya pala kasi kay Kat Satan. Just so happen, medyo nahuli din. Ito si Kat Satan, napareset. Ito si Kuya Blue Bob. Okay na din, nakuha pa din naman nila yon without contest. And yun pala ang plano. Yun ang tunay na plano. Pero ito, 3-6. As of now, 11 minutes into the game. Mas lamang ng tower push dito. Na isa lang naman yung side ng One Team. Pero gaya ng sabi ko, maliit pa din yung gap pagdating sa network. 2-3 kills lang na mabawi ulit ng EVOS yan. Pwedeng tumagalid ang vapor dito ng One Team.
At kita mo naman kung gaano galit na galit ang One Team. Currently sitting on a 3-6 scoreboard at 12 minutes into the game. Nakuha na rin nila yung Baron lane, so all outer turrets ay wala na sa side ng EVOS. At kailangan mag-ingat dito ni Kuya CU at Kuya Yumao dahil nga medyo may gamit na rin dito si Kuya Valdos, but he is sitting on 101. At mukhang si Kuya Lloyd na-ignite kaya na-cancel yung recall.
Na-cancel na ang recall si Kuya Lloyd kasi bakit ka dyan nagtitipi? Kahit makipaglaro ka ng basketball sa kanila, walang one-man team dun sa basketball.
Oo, masyado siya nag-ball-de-ballin. Masyado naman siya naging confident at yung recall na yun sa maling pagkakataon, sa di inaasahang oras. Talagang pinuestoan nga sila dito and they need the One Team demands more respect sa mga galaw dito ng EVOS na kahit sabihin natin na may Divine Sunderer ka pa lang So bali hindi pa sobrang wala pa yung tankiness, wala pa yung pagiging raid boss ni Kuya Lloyd and yun, tutuwa ng kanyang standing. So may take a lot of time para makuha niya ang kanyang susunod na item. At ito na, Death Brush ang setup ng EVOS.
Hintay tayong customer.
Naka-ready. Naku po,
customer,
ingat ka, baka mapunta ka sa ICU.
Sabi niya, parang matapang to Is this a bait? Nakikita niya si G4 sa gitna, mag-isa lang Pero ayun, na-find out! Na-Sprayer's Bloom!
Wala, sila? Bulilyaso. Di umano, tatlong kabataan ang siyang nabulilyaso. Ayun, nahuli. Tatlong kawatan, timbog Matapos ibutok ang Scryers Bloom.
Pero ito,
At napigilan.
Mamela.
Ito na, Nanen. Baron! Bakit ganun?
Pero bakit ganun nga? Hiniginuhitan with the package neto ni Kuya Yubao sabay Stacy, Zero's entrance nandyan na rin. Wala pa tayong nagkakapatayan dito ng kamapas na gamit na din. Pero sa may bandang ito, bina-isolate si Yumao. Yumao na naman. And for, one for nothing yung nagawa dito. And make that 1-1 dahil naibawi pa rin nila si Baldos. Hindi dumiretso ng TP. Kanina tumitipi na yan. Sabi niya, parang ang sarap na itong frags ha. Natakam pa nga.
Natakam masyadong natuwa. And ito na, nagkakaroon na tayo ng dagdag kagamitan para kay Kuya G4. Mas masakit para mas lalong umaray ang One Team. Pero Ocean Drake sisimulan na ni Kuya Shanyo. Habang sabi ng EVOS, dito nga, ang ating jungler. At ito na, aabot kaya? Mukhang hindi naman. Mamang ambala. Chains lang, scoops muna pare. Pero TV na,
pero ito,
mga pare.
Stasis, para dito kay Kuya nyo G4, low on HP. Pero
Shanyo!
ginagawa dito ng One Team. Pero si Fair Player, ako na lang muna yung maging sakripisyo. Pero wala kami pakialam sa nararamdaman mo. The Calling will be there. Dito sa isa, medyo na blind spot yun, pero after all that, Satan, and ito si G4, bumagsak na din, Stacy, stacking up sweep, magkukuli kay Baldo, pero of course, that triple kill, na ibigay kay Kuya CU, sabi niya, see you later, alligator. Kaso walang re-recton, men.
Oo, wala re-recton, kaya wala pang alligator, pero yun nga, nakuha na nila ang kanilang momentum, pero ito na ang secret technique. May pinagbabawal na technique dito. Sinurprise sila, OTP lang kagad. Iniisip ko siguro, mag-Ocean Drake kami. Pero surprise! That's not the case. Pero ito nga si Kuya Shanyo, sabi niya, ang daming natin pwedeng hulihin dito. And the choke point, even the combo punch. At kita mo dito yung swing ni Kuya Siu. Talagang napunta siya sa harap. Baited out ang ibang miyembro. And look at Valdus. Sinubukang tumalon. Ngunit nauntog. May kasama pang bukol. Ika nga ni Kuya Gigi Spear.
Parang sa kanya napunta yung broken wings ni Riven. Pinutulan ng ganun yung nangyayari kapag nakahuli ka ng langaw, tinatanggalan mo ng pakpak, langaw o lamok. Para hindi naman lipad. Yun yung revenge mo dun kapag kinagat ka kanina pa kasi kagat ng kagat itong si Kuya Baldus. And yun na nga, kinagat na din ng One Team. Yung Dragon, not only the Baron na na-secure nila and contest coming from EVOS, but also the Dragon, and they can continue pushing. Meron na naman tayong package na dumating kay Yumao sa base.
Oo, ang inaabangan ng lahat ang balikbayan box na padala ni Kuya Yumao. And this might be an opening for him para entirely makapwesto at maging halimaw. Pero kita naman natin dito ang EVOS, sila ang siyang umaatras ngayon. Mas play safe na sila dahil nga One Team setting up the tempo, setting up the pace. Infernal Drake dito, pwede na rin lumabas maya pero Baron Power play muna tayo. They are commencing the push. And hirap ang EVOS. They need to pick someone para mapigilan to at makapag all out battle sila. Pero dahil nga kahit ang binding, hindi rin makahanap ng opening, hindi rin makapalag basta-basta. Even Fair Player na may Black Shield, susubukan niya kumuha ng taunt, but everyone doon sa One Team ready na nakipagpalitan ng bala. At kita mo naman dito si Kuya.
Sa top lane na kanina ko pa napapansin yun, nag-1v1 itong dalawa
sila
Merong Hextech ultimatum na naganap, pero si Lloyd, feeling ko hindi siya nakapag-stack tsaka nakapag-noction. Kita mo, available pa yung ulti nila, pero naputasan dito yung mid lane ng side ng EVO. Sabi, pinipasok pa sila isa-isa ng side ng One Team. Pero pumasok din para mag-stasis lang sa may gitna, pero the Durant will connect on one. Mapapabagsak nila dito si Ninja 7 na parang nagpupunta sa bandang gitna. Kaso alam naman siya kung umabol. Parang may Baldos dito. Ini-stasis ka lang sa mukha. Hindi na rin umabot dito yung Hero's entrance to survive. Para kay Baldos. Pero nakabawi naman sila with the kill on that one kay Yumao. Pero sabi niya, I live again. I live again. Pero nandito na si Siu. Mukhang kakabol pa rin siya kahit Noel. Nandito yung nakalig. Pero thank you dun sa minions. They are gonna end this game para sa One Team.